no such thing as homosexuals.
Yes, there are, Jessica. The homosexuals go way back in history.
Who?
Alexander the Great was gay. Plato was gay.
Plato? Mickey Mouse's dog was...
I know what you mean. You know, the other day, I took one of them, meat thermometers? Yeah. And I just shoved it into my ear, you know, as far as it could go, you know, but then I took one of them,
Orpine hammers.
Right. I just whacked it a few times right in there, you know.
Boy, that was smart.
I know, I hate when that happens.
Okay, this is a thing you eat at the movies. It comes in kernels. You heat them up in oil.
Popcorn.
Right. This is a little hot, spicy number.
Luigi Moreno.
No, babe. It comes from a cucumber. They let it sit in a barrel with its brother so it becomes something else.
I got you dinner.
Let's move on. This is an entree dinner kind of thing. Dessert, 3 layers, icing on top.
Jabuti.
Now, babe, say you're in heaven, you're flying around, you got a little halo, you're...
Dead.
Yeah, but you did a lot of good stuff. You're...
Blessed.
You got the wings, the halo. You're going from cloud to cloud.
I don't know, what is it?
Next. This is...
Chocolate babies?
Right.
In Brooklyn, where I live, Monday and Tuesday the forecast is you can't complain. Wednesday will be 10. Thursday and Friday, don't be such a big shot, take a jacket. Let me ask you this, if I float some names of Hollywood stars back up on the wall here, tell me off the top of your heads what you think about them, okay, guys?
Sure.
Okay, Gene, Marielle Hemingway is a marvelous star.
Well, I think she's a terrific actress, and unfortunately she got into all this publicity for that picture Star 80 of having her breasts enlarged, and I think that took a lot of attention away from her acting performance in the film, which was very good.
How big did she get her breasts?
He does the best Howard Cosell imitation.
No, you do the Cosell. That's me.
No, I do you better than you. You do. You do Howard Cosell, would you? And I'll do you.
Muhammad. You're not the same man you were 10 years ago. You seem to be tired. You're breathing hard. What's the trouble? Are you slipping? Are you finished? Are you washed up?
You always talk about that. You ain't the same man you were 10 years ago. Is that your real hair?
This is Cousin Patty. He's going to be staying with us for a while. Isn't that nice?
You don't have a cousin Patty.
You lied to me.
True love is the greatest thing. So nice, I like to eat the mutton lettuce and tomato sandwich when the mutton is nice and lean and the tomatoes are ripe. They're so perky. I love that. Bye-bye, boy.
Have fun storming the castle.
Take it away.
But take it. There you go. Bye-bye. I love that you get cold when it's 71 degrees. It takes you an hour and a half to order a sandwich. I love that you get a little crinkle above your nose when you're looking at me like I'm nuts. I love that after I spend the day with you, I can still smell your perfume on my clothes. And I love that you are the last person I want to talk to before I go to sleep at night. And it's not because I'm lonely, and it's not because it's New Year's Eve. I came here tonight because when you realize you want to spend the rest of your life with somebody, you want the rest of your life to start as soon as possible.
You see? That is just like you, Harry. You say things like that and you make it impossible for me to hate you. And I hate you, Harry. I really hate you.
song mean? My whole life, I don't know what this song means.
Help!
You know, this was not in the brochure.
Damn it. Now let's take it so long. Do you see the head?
I only see a tail.
Shit. It's turned the wrong way. Get it out.
Uh-oh. My watch came off.
No!
It's a gift!
Do it!
Come on. Look what I did! I made a cow! This is unbelievable. This is amazing.
He looks like you.
Is this funny to you? Look, I'm Carl Malden. Never carried cash. Whatever. Look, I'm a Hasidic baker. I'll have it Thursday for you. I'll have it Thursday for you. I'll have it Thursday. I don't got no pumpernickel. Where goes you little bastard? You can do this, you can do it interviewing the basketball players after the game, you know, in the locker room. You go, hey, you played a great game. I'll see you one. Look at you, you're a credit to the man. Wait, look, there. Now you do it. There you go.
What's the matter with you? We never discussed Mr. Beatty's health outside the family. You know better than that. You know what I do when I'm mad, Paul? I hit a pillow. Just hit the pillow. See how you feel.
There's your fucking pillow.
Feel better?
Yeah, I do.
What a sight! Awesome. Tomorrow the stars and stars will wave that way. So, keep the speeches tight, fellas. We'd like to finish by tonight, fellas. On behalf of the Academy, a billion people tuning in to see Little Oscar's turning 17 tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Billy Crystal.
Go! 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 Go!
Good night, everybody. Wow, that was amazing. Thank you so much. This is, well, we got, I'll say that later after you see what we're gonna do. Hi, Bonnie.
How lovely is that? Everybody stood up.
I love it.
I know. Very, very nice.
Sounds like the entire Sioux Nation is here. We've had, you know, I'm sorry, this is my first time in San Antonio. Like, look, a free chili relleno is a free chili relleno. Really, everyone's been so great. I have such gas, but it's been really amazing people, amazing.
Very. I mean, it's been nice. We've been out.
Oh,
people always come up to me and they say, "Did you used to work at J.C. Penney's?" I'm like, "No." But they're like, "Billy," you know.
Well,
yeah, they know who you are right away. It's
I've
lovely.
been gotten old in front of their faces, you know. But it's been so great. We've had so much fun. This is, I think, our 14th show. We're doing almost 40 cities, and I wanted to come to different places that I'd never been before. And I deeply regret I've never been here before, but I'm telling you, just our day here has been amazing.
Nice,
Yeah,
great people. And we've had so many interesting experiences. And they're all different. Opening night in Miami back in January, Ben Stiller was at the show.
Yes, I know.
And I'd never met him before, so that was cool. So we go out afterwards, and we're having a little food and stuff, and a woman is watching us while we're eating, and it's a little unnerving because she won't stop staring at us. She's like 45, you know, a kid. And she comes over the table to Ben, and she goes, Mr. Stiller, your movies are hilarious. I think you're just the greatest. You're so funny. She looks at me and she goes, and you must be so proud of your son. Worst was I was at Yankee Stadium, and I'm up in, I happen to be up in Mr. Steinbrenner's box. There's a World Series game, and I was his guest. It was really cool. I'm getting a drink, heading right out to the field. They turn around into Secretary of State Henry Kissinger.
Oh, wow.
And his 12-foot wife. She's very tall. And I went, oh my God, Dr. Kissinger, it's a pleasure to meet you. He went, oh my God, I can't believe it's you. I love you, you're my favorite. Honey, say hello to Billy Joel. I sang Piano Man 6 times. I love it, I never get tired of it. Do it again, do it again. Yeah, so, I love being on the road though. That's the great thing.
And the other thing is when we get to our hotels, it's like if it's the first time we stayed at a hotel, we'll text each other. Like I'll say I have a balcony, but just the difference between men and women. You texted me today because you were so thrilled, and if I asked them to save the video.
I try to, you know, you're away from home, and ever since I started working, I realized I never had my own room. Till I got out on the road.
Yeah, same with me.
I mean, my brother and I shared a room till I was 20. And then I was college, I had roommates, and I got married right out of college. I've never had my own room. So when I go on the road, I like to have my own room. But this hotel was really great, and they try to make you feel great, and I totally appreciate it. Look what was in my room waiting for me today. Open sesame. It's the greatest thing in the world. And it's heated. But not by the person before me. That's the worst thing of all, isn't it? That's the worst. Even if it's your loved one, your wife, your husband, your partner, whatever, if it's warm, it's the worst. It's just creepy. It's creepy. If I go to like a big, like here, if I had to go here, or a big public place, a stadium, a movie complex or something, and I know the seat is warm, I go, oh, I don't sit down. No, I hover. I will hover.
Same thing in a public place.
No, I'm like in a downhill skiing position. And then it's a drone strike. It's a drone strike. That's it for me. I'm sensitive. You have to know this about me. I'm easily...
They know everything about you.
No, I'll feel warm again.
You are sensitive. You are sensitive.
I'm very sensitive about that.
But you and... What's wrong? I know. These are from Liberace sent these over the yesterday.
They're like the pants of the mariachi band. Was I love that they're framed on the wall.
The pictures of the mariachi outfits.
Just like Cooperstown for you know,
baseball.
It's the Hall of Fame.
Sure.
He once played 15,000 weddings.
Yeah, there was a lot of music last night.
Fantastic place. And it's a tiny, intimate place, too.
Wait, I think it has 500 seats.
It's bigger than my hometown. It's 500, but it was all great.
It was very, very nice.
Yeah.
And we missed Janice last night because she was not here, but your wife, Janice, has been on the road with us.
Yeah,
and oddly enough, we're sharing a room, all three of us, because of the budget.
Well, it's been fun.
Yeah.
But that toilet is
that toilet, I know, that could be a marriage saver because the seat will always be down automatically, and women would really appreciate that.
Yeah.
And
yes, they would.
I want to tell the audience that the other day we were just sitting at dinner and we talked about the fact that it had been 50 years since your first date with Janice.
Yeah. I love you. got lucky, yeah. We just had the 50th anniversary of our first date and our 50th Valentine's Day.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was, so,
Wow.
you know,
That's
we started young. I was 7, she was 5. And, yeah, okay, I know where you're at. Yeah, no, it's great. And, you know, we've been together forever.
I know, but you know, what's the secret?
We see other people. It's been a long time, man.
I don't know why I didn't think of it.
No, but you
Actually, my husband.
We have so much fun. She's my wife Janice is hilarious.
She
person.
is. She's very
really funny. She's a great mother, an amazing grandmother. And I was lucky. I was 18. She was 17. I took one look at her and I said, "She's the one," and that's it.
But you guys still, you still have that spark together. Like you hold hands when you're walking. And
Yes, we do. No, we do. We feel like we're still dating.
I know. I envy that. I mean, it's really sweet.
Well, do we have any long-term marriages here? Really? How long? I'm just curious. You're married? 1969. Wow, that's a year before us. That's fantastic. I didn't want to, just tell me. 50
years.
And you can still talk like that? That's fantastic. How many, sir? 43. Well, God bless you all. I mean, it's a really great thing, and it's a rarity now. I mean, it's a rarity that you can find someone and stay together for that long. If you you go through all different kinds of things. You have to. We're done with that.
He's on to something. He's on to something.
No, I appreciate it. It's a two-person show. You have to
54!
always find. Do I have 56? 57? Find things to talk about. Find things to do. Find things to do together. Interests, mutual interests, separate interests, things that you can talk about.
Right.
And then, you know, of course, over the course of time, sex is a big component of it. And I think for that, stop it. I think that variety is the key to that, which is why God gave me 2 hands.
I don't understand that.
He does. She doesn't. He does. And if you examine a couple, or let's take a couple, all right? So we'll say 50 years, okay? It's for you. 50 years, so that's 1967 to 2017. And it's a couple, we'll just call them him and her. Okay, we'll see how it's changed. All right, 1967, him. What do we do now? What do we do now? I don't know what to do. What do you want me to do? Her. Put your finger there. Him. Why does it feel like that? Her. It's because I'm excited. Him. Oh, 2017, him. Wow, you're wet down there. Her. I'm sorry, I coughed before. 1967, him. I can't believe how beautiful your body is. I can't believe how beautiful your body is. Her. Aw. 2017, him. I can't believe those tits. Her. Stop looking in the mirror and come to bed. 1967, him. Am I doing it right? Am I doing it right? I think I'm doing it right. Am I hurting you? I'm hurting you. Her. Slow down. Slow down. We've got all night. We'll do it together. I love you. 2017. Him. Oops. Her. Get me my vibrator and go heat up the Chinese food. 1967. Him. Why are your eyes open? Her. I like to watch you make love to me. 2017. Him. What the hell are you looking at? Her. You know the drapes don't match the That's 50 years, I think. But you know, we're growing older together, and,
Right.
you know, and it's a beautiful thing.
Yes,
you
but
know.
you, I mean, Janice is beautiful. You look great. I mean, that's like, you guys don't...
See, thank you, but that's that thing.
What thing?
You look great.
No, I said you look great.
No, I appreciate it. I really do. But it's that people act surprised sometimes. Like you should be dead, you know? Like, they were on the 3 ages of man, boyhood, manhood, and you look great. It's like, but you know, I'm going to be 69 years old in March. And you know, I keep in great shape. I work out.
Yes,
I play basketball. I play baseball. I work out all the time. 69 is the new 68, I think. But it's not.
Okay, that's
It's not like my grandfather's 69.
No, when we were younger, our grandparents seemed so much older at this.
Yeah, when he was in his 60s, he looked like he was in his 80s, and he smelled like he was in his 90s. I can do anything I could do when I was 30, if I could only remember what the hell those things were. But things happen. Things happen, you know. I can see people nodding their heads. Stuff starts to grow on you. It's like, what is that? What is this? What is this? My ass looks like the bottom of a boat. I'm so much. I don't shower anymore. I'm sandblasted twice a week. But I do all kinds. Look at this. I'm on the road.
I know. I'm with you.
And if people retire, I think it's great. Retire, I think that's fantastic.
No, we've talked about this, but don't, like, you have to have a hobby or an interest, something.
Have something to do. Like I see people, mostly men. This is guys. I gotta give you a little comeuppance here. A little, you know, little.
What?
Spirit.
To not retire?
No, you can retire, that's great, but don't give up. Don't give up fun. Find something to do. I watch guys, I was at the Riverwalk. I'm watching guys follow their wives around. It's just the It's like the march of the very depressed penguins. Walking around, you see them at shopping malls, following their wives around. Hey, look, yogurt, let's get a yogurt. I can't have yogurt, I'm not allowed to have a yogurt. Okay. And then the wives are all just shopping and trying on stuff. Women are filled with spirit, they never give up. And I hate this. Guys, please don't be one of these guys who follows their wives around holding her pocketbook in one hand and her coat in the other, and they're just walking like this. You know what's in that pocketbook? Their balls. They're so bewildered, so you gotta find things to do. I find that things have changed. I'm a little cold.
Yeah.
A little cold easily.
Yeah, I feel that too.
And you figure, you know what? Global warming is not such a bad thing. It was, what today, 1,000,000 degrees? It was
Yeah, it's 150.
Yeah, I had a sweater on. And the other thing is I noticed that I now pee in Morse code.
I'm telling you, we're laughing now, you guys. You should be out to dinner with Billy and the boys, like the comedians, the guys that we know. You guys are always, you especially, making fun of aging.
Well, you have to. You got to laugh with it because it's you know, nobody gets out of this alive. I knew that as a and that's how it started to be funny. Was my relatives?
When you were a kid.
Yeah, I was around a lot of older people.
And you were thinking about actually your own.
Yeah, because they scared me. You had to start to be funny because, like, my Uncle Lee would come to the house, and you probably had a relative like this. They wear Bermuda shorts, but hiked up just below the ankles. Really high.
The waist, high waisters.
Really high. And knee socks to hear the sails. And he'd sit on the edge of the chair And it looked like he was sitting on a basket of pears.
What the hell is that? I look at him, he's sitting on an octopus. I don't want that. Am I going to get that? I don't want that. Who do I talk to? I don't want that.
Who do I talk to?
That awful thing. Awful.
Oh, that's funny.
I never will never taught you. What are you laughing at? Someday you're gonna look like this.
Oh no.
Holy shit.
Yeah, you guys do make me laugh with that, but you did come up with something really, when you text me, you have these things that you got, that you made up.
We made our own
up.
abbreviations.
Yeah.
And emojis.
Right.
My friends.
And I begged you to please, could we talk about them in the show?
Well, I put them in here. Okay, so these are for anybody, but mostly people in our sort of strata, our age group. These are, stuff we put on our cell phones. Here, here's one. GNIB, of course, is good news, it's benign. Which is pretty much the best news. WAI, which is, where am I? DTLSTY, does this look swollen to you? LOL.
Laugh out loud.
No, lots of laxatives.
Emojis, you really expanded.
GTDMELFS. Call the doctor, my erection lasted 4 seconds. Love that emoji? We made that ourselves.
Did you make that?
IYRAYHMEFU. If you're Russian and you hack my email, fuck you. Thank you, comments.
Wow. Those are more advanced than I thought they would be.
Oh yeah, we're working all the time. We're working all the time.
So you were talking about those kind of abbreviations and everything. You have grandkids.
Yeah.
You have
4
grandchildren, right? And they teach us everything. And when I have something wrong with my phone, I give it to one of the nieces or nephews, and they're
I let a 3-year-old program my phone for me. Because I almost started a fire. I just almost started a fire. Just to bring you up to date, the girls are 13 and 10. Good luck with that. And the boys are 7 and soon to be 4. The little guy was born on my 65th birthday.
I didn't know he was born on your birthday. Really, that's got to be the best grandpa gift. The best gift anybody could get is that you have a grandchild born.
No. It was my birthday.
You don't want to share it?
No, it was my
I'm surprised to hear that.
I wanted to share it last year. My birthday, I was in the plastic ball pit at Chuck E. Cheese. I spent my birthday there.
But can I just tell a story that I know? Well, you'll tell the story, but if I can urge you to tell it. Hudson, your grandson.
He's 7.
He's 7, you guys. He is just like Billy. Like when you see him, you think somebody put Billy in the dryer. he's got it, the personality. So Billy, when he was about 5, started teaching him like classic phrases from movies, and these are the stories I love. And then the best thing is it was just to entertain you, but then you find out he uses it in comedic context, which was the biggest payoff.
He's hilarious. He's gonna. If he wants to, he can perform.
Right.
He's got a great ear. He looks exactly like I did.
So
and it's spooky. And the boys are so different than the girls. If you put 2 girls next to each other, they'll just like talk. Nice dress, like you dress, very pretty. 2 boys next to each other, hey. It's the kids. They just start hitting each other. But he's got a great ear. He can imitate people. So when he and I were alone, I would teach him lines from movies. So I taught him all of Hyman Roth's lines from Godfather 2.
He was 5 at the time. All of Lee Strasberg's lines from Godfather 2. Try to remember what he looked like in that movie. He's 5 years old, and it was hilarious. And it was just between the two of us. So one day my daughter calls and she says, "Hey Dad, I got a call from school today." Yeah, everything right? Yeah, I know. But they asked Hudson if he had to go to the potty, and he said, "I give $4 million just to pee without it hurting." He graduated from kindergarten in his little cap and gown. He gets his diploma that's that big. Instead of joining his class on the other side of the stage, he runs to the microphone. He finds me in the crowd. He goes, "Grandpa, we're bigger than U.S. Steel." It's hilarious. It's hilarious.
Yes.
Hudson, who told you to do that? The Rosado brothers.
He knows how to use them.
Yeah. No, his birthday cake. Smaller piece.
But you were that age. You told me that you were that young when you knew this is what you wanted to do.
Yeah, well, I was always in school shows. You know, so in elementary school, you know, I always was at the plays, and I took it seriously. And yeah, find the fireman, find the fireman. Yeah, there it is. And yeah, there it is.
Hudson.
Yeah. And then that went into, you know, junior high and high school. My dad had a music store in the middle of New York City.
She said 700 Sundays.
Well, she did. And he would bring home comedy albums from the store.
Oh, yeah.
So that's when I started really hearing what it's like to be in front of a live audience.
Well, we were so lucky. Look at the people we grew up listening to.
Oh, and Mel Brooks and Carl Reiner and Lenny Bruce and Nichols and May on Broadway, and Jonathan Winters, Genius of Jonathan.
Bob Newhart.
Bob Newhart. You know, in 1960s, a little piece of interesting history of comedy on albums. We just had the Grammys a couple of weeks ago. In 1962, at the Grammys, Bob Newhart's album, The Button-Down Mind of Bob Newhart, was voted the best album of the year. Over music albums. A comedy album was voted and I would listen to that, it would change you, because you'd hear the magic of what it was like to perform in front of a live audience, and you know what? It's pretty great.
Yeah. And they were always at the top of their intelligence, so clever.
Oh,
you know, just that comedy to me is the best.
And clean.
Yeah, clean.
You know, and
right.
clean. And that was the
It's
thing.
harder to do. It is.
Fuck yeah. So then in high school I started really doing stuff.
Yeah, but when you got into college, you were an athlete.
I went away to school to play baseball.
Right, so
a little school in West Virginia called Marshall University. And then I met Janice that summer. And like I said before, I knew she was the one, and I said, if I go back to school, more than likely this is not going to work out, and I know I want this for the rest of my life. Yeah. So I called the coach and said I'm not coming back, and I transferred to a little junior college, which was the greatest thing I ever did.
Tell them what you said at dinner the other night, that parents should save a ton of money.
And the kids should, guys, if you're going to college, you know, look at a junior college. Because it's the greatest. I mean, you're basically going to take the same things for 2 years, save you folks a lot of money, and then get your grades up, and then really know what you want to do, and go on to a university. You can, this way, it worked for me. And if it's a junior college, you know, a commuter school, you know, you can drink and smoke and then wake up at home. I mean, mom makes you breakfast. I mean, yeah. So then, that's when I fell in love. I fell in love with acting and writing and directing and this junior college, and I transferred to New York University, and for my last couple of years as a directing major, film directing major, and our professor, one of them in a production class was this young kid. I wish I could find out what happened to him. His name was Martin Scorsese.
How old was he?
Marty was 23, 24.
Oh my God.
He was a graduate student.
Was he like
and he taught production and film history.
At 23 years old, was like he is now, where, you know, Marty's very over-caffeinated, and when you talk to him, he talks so fast that it's like, it's like the speed of sound, yeah.
Well, I wasn't used to him. Let me ask you something. What did you do? That shot, you need a wide shot. What do you need? You need to take camera this way, camera that way, and then you can push it. You can push it like this. Like, you know, how about so you use a wide shot first. Then you come this way, you come that way, and then if you let it this way, you let it that way, and then slow motion, do a slow motion shot, and then push it on. And one time he spoke so quickly, he went into the future. He just and then boom, he popped back and went, oh my God, I'm gonna win an Oscar. And what did it be for my best film? What did it be for my best film? No, so that, yeah, and we had a bunch of interesting,
I know, it's hilarious.
Interesting students in the school who went on to, you know, some notoriety.
Like who? Like
Oliver Stone, Christopher Guest, Michael Keane. They all happened to be at the school. Yeah.
And so did you, from there, did somebody see you at school, or?
No, then I got out of the Vietnam War in the draft lottery. My number wasn't called.
Oh, that's when they did like on TV or
It was
something.
the first, it was terrifying. Because, you know, back then the nation was at odds about this war. And I got out on the lottery, which is a big television special. It had 365 ping pong balls with all the days of the year on them. And it was everybody's birthday, and they came up and they pulled it out. And if you were in the first 200, you were going away. And it was really terrible. So I had a night class, so I missed the first 150. So I didn't know where I was, because it was like guaranteed that I would become a Toronto Blue Jay fan.
That's one way to put it.
And so I missed the first 150, so I called my mother. You had to do this then.
Yeah, 6.5 hours later.
Yeah. And I said, Mom, the draft lottery, did you see the numbers? Mom, are you watching? No, dear, no. There's a 2-hour bonanza on. Boss got bit by a snake. He's got a fever. They don't know if he's going to get out of it or not.
Boss got bit by a snake.
So when I left school, now I was free to do what I wanted to do. And I always knew I wanted to be a comedian. I always really knew that I wanted to be funny.
Right.
But I was a little scared, so I started a team with 2 other friends. We were a trio called Three's Company, and before the TV show. And and we started touring colleges and doing improvs, and you know, we were like Fourth City. We weren't as good as Second City. We were like Fourth City. And we toured colleges all over the place, and it was really our vaudeville. And you learned how to, you know, how to be on stage.
So is that when you were discovered?
Towards the end of the run of the group, we were together like 4 years, and
wow,
it's too long, and believe me, folks, it's lonely at the middle. And I was very anxious. I was married, and I had a baby. You know, we had a baby girl who was 6, 7 months old at the time, and I was really having just a terrible anxiety problem because I knew I wasn't doing what I had to do, and the comedy clock was really ticking. I was already 25 and a half years old, and like, you better get going. And a manager, probably the greatest manager in the comedy circles in New York, a great man named Jack Rollins.
A legend, yeah.
He managed Woody Allen and said to Woody, you don't only have to write jokes, you should perform them yourselves. And they turned him into a great stand-up comic, and then later one of our great directors. And they saw us, and they had a very small group of clients.
Right, like a boutique agency.
Very boutique, and they only handled a small group. Woody Allen, a great interviewer, Dick Cavett, Robert Klein, who was a great comedian.
Oh, yeah.
And a tremendous guy, Tom Poston, who was hilarious actor.
Funniest guy.
Hilarious.
Ever.
So they had a little boutique. So they saw the group, and they started sending the group out on work. But then they came to me behind the back of my friends and said, listen, have you ever thought about being a comedian? And I said, yeah. They said, well, the group's not going anywhere. We're doing this because we think you could be something, and if you want to do it, we'll be there for you 100%. Wow. That was all the ammunition I needed, and I got up the guts one day to say to my friends, I can't do this anymore.
But wait, now you and Janice are married, you have a baby. Is she working, or how are you guys getting?
Well, she just had a baby, like the baby's like 6 months old, so now I had to go to the comedy clubs in New York City. Maybe you remember the names of them, the Improv and Catch a Rising Star and all these little tryout rooms.
Right.
To get going, and it was really hard because what are you going to do? We had no money. I was making most of my money from substitute teaching in the same junior high school that I had gone to. Yeah, it was really weird to call my teachers by their first names. And then to see them on the weekend in like plain clothes was like spooky. So I really had to do this. So now Janice did the most unselfish thing a mother could do. Baby's 6 months old. She said, listen, I'm gonna go back to work. You'll take care of Jenny all day. I'll come home around 5, and then you'll hand her off to me. Do whatever you have to do to get ready, and then go into the city and become a comedian I know that you can become. So I became Mr. Mom.
Yeah, way before its time.
This is 1973 and a half.
Were you the only dad at home during the day?
Yeah, I was the only dad in the playgroup. You know, I was the only man in the playground. You know, not having cramps. I was the only one having cramps. And but there was one other person who didn't shave legs. So that was. Yeah, but she was French.
She was French. Yeah.
And so I did that for about almost 2 years. And it was the best time that I can remember. It bonded me with this little girl who's now the mother of 2.
Right, Jenny, sweetheart. Yeah.
And I would never trade that time for anything of my own. And so I started working at the clubs very late at night. It would be like, 12:30, 1 o'clock before I could get on. And then we lived an hour outside of Manhattan. So I'd have to drive home. You know, I get home by 2:33, be up at 6 with her. Janice was an assistant to the dean of the theater at the junior college that I had gone to. So she had to be at the office by 8. So I was bleary-eyed for like, that time. But it was amazing. And some nights, trying to put an act together, I'd be working on a stage in front of like 6 people who were making out. So you feel like you're a driving movie. That's not fun.
So what's the big break?
They get me a job. I put this really good 20 minutes together.
Right.
And they get me a job opening for Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Who were the hottest group in the world at that point. Spinning Wheel was their big song.
Yeah.
And it's in Scranton, Pennsylvania. And I drive the 3.5 hours in my Volkswagen to Scranton, Pennsylvania to open for Blood, Sweat, and Tears. This is the beginning of something. I thought, oh my God, I'm gonna open for the #1 band. And it's in a theater, not as grand as this, but as big as this. And I had been playing to 100 people, 150 people, most at a time. And now I'm in the wings going, I'm gonna open for Blood, Sweat, and Tears. And it was really hard. Because I wasn't on any advertising, I wasn't on the poster, on the billboard outside. The audience had no idea there was going to be an opening act. They introduced me, I walked out. The audience had timed their drugs for Blood, Sweat, and Tears. I could see their faces. What is he doing on? I'm peeking now! So I do my 20 minutes, and I'm telling you, it killed. They were great people. I was so excited. Thank you so much. I love it, Scranton. I love you all. Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Get ready. And I ran to the wings, and I remember sitting in the wings on this little stool saying, holy shit, I can do this. I can do this. Yeah. So the curtain was closed, and now Blood, Sweat, and Tears walks out onto the stage, and they had that brass and all stuff.
Best.
And they had a great drummer named Bobby Colombi, and he's on a little parapet like this, he's on a platform. And David Clayton Thomas walks out, and I see him, and the curtain opens, and the band goes, 1, 2, 3, 4! What goes up must come. Fuck you! Fuck all of you, Scranton! Fuck all of you! Boom! Throws the microphone down, storms off stage. Holy shit. The promoter runs over to me. Billy, go back out there. Oh, wait, I can't. I have 20 minutes. I'm done. I don't have a syllable to give you. I'm done. I have nothing. I can't even go. Well, I'm done. That's all. I don't have anything else. The drummer comes over. Hey, man, you gotta go out there. David does this. He just does this. So come on. It's gonna take about 10 minutes to talk him down. Come on, please. Go back out there.
I didn't expect to see all of you so soon. What a night. Crazy, huh? How things happen. Yeah. David had a little pebble in his boots. You know. Where you from? Scranton? Oh, interesting. You just flew in for this. Where you from? Scranton? Oh, what a coincidence. Maybe you two should know each other, huh? Oh, you do? You know each other, huh? And you, where you? Scranton? Oh, this is unbelievable. What a coincidence. And now I'm doing where you from. I'm getting big laughs, and I'm just talking. Then I hear a whistle off stage, and I look over, and the drummer's going, and I go, no. So I finish up. Thank you so much. Here they are once again. Blood, sweat, and tears. Thank you, Scranton. The curtain opens. Bobby counts them down. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, go. Fuck you. Fuck all of you. Fuck all of you. You're mongrels. You're all mongrels. Boom. Walks off the stage. They come running over again. Go back out there. I can't. I know where everybody's from. The drummer, you better go out there, man, because they're chanting your fucking name. 5,000 people are chanting my name rhythmically. So I go back out. Wow. Oh, man. Thank you so much. A command performance. This is unbelievable. I haven't done an encore, ever. So bless you all for wanting me back out here. So, where am I from? So now I'm doing a little bit more. I hear the whistle. Thank you very much. 3 times the charm. Blood, sweat, and tears. Thank you, Scranton. I ran to the car. I just ran to the car. Promoters running after. Get out of here. Get out of here. No. Here's $25 extra. Cash. He gave me $25. I made $175. And for Blood, Sweat, and Tears. And I got in my Volkswagen and I drove all the way home. The 3.5, 4 hours to Long Island back home. And because I never stayed out, Bonnie. I never, unless it was...
You never stayed overnight in a town?
No, unless I had to, if it was really too far, or if it was 2 or 3 days, you know, an engagement. I had to get home to Janice and Jenny, and I had this little tape recorder, a cassette recorder, that could record, you know, all my shows. And I just would keep it in the wings, or I had a stool on stage, and the sound guy would record my shows for me. And when I would drive home, no matter from where I was, whether it be on the Jersey Turnpike, or the New York State Thruway, or Route 80 through Pennsylvania, just listen to the act over and over again.
Yeah, you're working on it.
Driving, I just trying to get better. And the road was literally ahead of me, and I was doing what I had to be doing, going home to that little girl and that big girl. And it was the most romantic time of my life. It really was.
No, I get it.
It really
I get
was.
that.
Because things are
Yeah,
and it just sets you straight. It puts the bubble in the level, just right where it's supposed to be.
right, if you make that choice, and you obviously did. I mean, your ambition, your drive came when you wanted to provide for your family, and you had such love for them, you were always going home.
But I was doing what I was needed to do, and what I was supposed to do from the time I was a little kid.
But it was the 70s. I mean,
Yeah.
that was kind of sex, drugs, rock and roll, that era, that time.
Yeah.
Did you don't seem like the type, like I never went through a drug phase. I mean, I drank beer, and I mean, in Chicago was like a Milwaukee Sunshine was the big drug.
What is that?
That was beer and orange juice.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're a nut.
Yeah, God, it was crazy. It was crazy.
So you did look for trails after that? Yeah,
No, but you were talking about sex earlier and everything. Like, we didn't grow up with any of that, drugs or like.
No sex?
Well, no, we never spoke of it. It was never spoken of in our house. Except one time, my dad rescued a dog, a stray dog that happened to be pregnant. He brought the dog home. My mom sat us all down, all 7 kids. I was about 6 years old, and she explained to us that the dog's husband had died because she didn't want us to think that a dog could get pregnant without being married. She also told us our body parts. She never said the right names. She called it property. That's
Property.
That's your property.
That's your property.
Yes. So like the first time I'm in the car with my parents and I see a real estate sign, I said, oh my God, somebody's advertising. Property for sale. So anyway, we didn't need drugs. We had so much distraction with the entertainment of my mother.
My grandparents were sexual maniacs.
Oh, how do you know that?
Because I can hear them.
What?
I can hear them. And they live down the block. You can hear them. I know, they were they were beating the shit out of each other. Yell out my name! Yell out my name! I can't remember it!
Why did I bring it up? Did you ever go through a drug phase?
Drugs were not for me. I tried really hard.
You tried?
I tried really hard to
Why?
be a hippie. I had the army surplus stuff.
Oh, you wanted to be a hippie?
Hair, and
you had big hair?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Huge. It was, the Jufro. It was gigantic.
Oh, it's like,
But I couldn't. I'm easily nauseated.
Right.
Like the warm seat. If I'm in a restaurant and someone's eating and they have it in their mouths, I go, this is delicious. Billy, taste this. I'll go.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a cat with a hairball.
No.
That's why I could never smoke pot with other people. Because it would be wet and then
So you never ventured? That's good.
No, that's not true.
What?
One time, I went right for the moon, Alice. I went right for
pot? Marijuana?
No. All right. I tripped one time.
What is
with
that?
My brother.
Trip. Does that mean acid?
No, a hallucinogen, organic mescal. But it wasn't my fault. It really wasn't my fault.
I'm not your mom. You don't have to say.
Who made me do it?
Who made you do it?
The Rosanna brothers.
That's too cute.
My brother, I'm the youngest of three. My brother's the one I shared the room with until we were...
Rip.
Right,
Yeah.
Rip.
He's so cute and charismatic.
Yes. And he and I are extremely close, and we were really close kids. And I have an older brother who's 6 years old. I'm close to him too, but it's different. He's 2 years, and he was very cool. And he was who I wanted to be. He was a terrific little point guard, and he sang great, and the girls loved him, and he was a class president, the whole thing.
Right.
And I swam in his wake. I really did. So he's moving to California, and I'm very sad.
And you and Janice are living in the home, your parents' home.
Right, we're living in a house that I grew up in. Upstairs, there was a tiny little apartment.
Right.
And we didn't have any money, so my mother, didn't charge us a lot and let us stay. So we had this little apartment, a tiny little place for the three of us up there. And Rip was leaving, and I was sad. And he said to me, listen, I'm leaving in the morning. I don't know when we're gonna see each other again. So I'd like to do this with you. It'll be really cool. It's organic mescal. What? No. Listen, it sounds worse than it is. But I have done it a lot, 40, 50 times. And every time it's unbelievable. We'll just laugh, it'll be so cool. And we'll always have it together, okay? All right, okay, here you go. Here you go. 45 minutes goes by, nothing happens.
You're not sick to your stomach or anything?
No, nothing. But I realized I've been combing my hair for 45 minutes. And putting shit in it, like all different kinds of things, like honey and maple syrup and my head's becoming like balloon animals. Without that noise. A dog! I'm making myself into a and he's laughing. As mayor of Munchkin City. And then it starts to work in your system, and it doesn't feel good. And then you get sweaty, and it's like, oh, this is not going great. So I turned out the lights to make it cooler, and I took this wool sweater I was wearing, I took it off, and I shook it out to put it down, and sparks came out. flipped out my brother. What is that? What is that? What? This? Do it again! Do it again! Where? It's just static electricity. That's the perfect name for it! We're gonna make a fortune! Then he said something to me. Now you have to picture, we're out of our minds. And he looks at me and he says, let's go look at the baby. She'll be glowing, she'll be floating, you'll be lovely. So I went, okay. So now I have to walk from here to the front door of the bedroom. It took us 20 minutes. Because we were walking on a tightrope like the Melinda brothers. Because we didn't want to fall off into the abyss that we both were seeing. This fiery hell called the living room! Got to the door, Janice comes out the bathroom, closes the door behind her, and she gets in our grill. And to me, she looked like the dog from The Omen.
Get away from the child! Get back! Get away! Look at you two robots! You're so fucked up! Get back! Get away from the child! Stay away! Get back! Come on, face! Do something! Get away from the child! Get out of this apartment! I'm ashamed of both of you! Listen to me! Get away from the child! Stay back! Get away from the child!
We were up for 3 days, and my brother took this picture of me.
Stay away from the child!
I love that voice.
You do that voice very well.
I love that voice.
Stay away from the
You know what that voice is? That's the voice from those mafia documentaries.
Oh, yeah, when they disguise the guy.
Chair, they don't want to reveal their identity. And they're sitting in silhouette, or they pixelate their face, and they change their voice. That's what that voice is.
The first time I killed somebody, Mr. Gotti said if you want to be a made man, you have to kill someone. I said, okay. He said, your mother. I said, my mother? I love my mother. Well, do you want to be with the boys? I said, yes. Well, then you better do it. So I come up behind her. She was reading Reader's Digest. Watching Jeopardy. And...
This voice is also in bad kung fu movies.
Yes, when they're always out of sync and bad dubbing.
I laugh at you. You think your kung fu can defeat me?
You've done so many characters. When you're talking about the kung fu movies, you were talking the other night about people shouldn't be in certain movies like biblical films.
Well, that was one of the first imitations I ever did.
Right. Please, it's one of my
favorite.
favorite.
The Ten Commandments is one of the greatest campy movies of all time.
Well, it's based on a true story.
That's true. But there are people in that movie should not be in biblical films, ever. Edward G. Robinson. Where's the Messiah now? Where's the Moses now, G? Let my people go now! Golden calf, yeah, golden calf. They melted all that gold, see? That wasn't a golden calf, see? Yeah, there it is, see?
Please do my favorite.
What?
Yul Brynner.
Yul Brynner was the Pharaoh, Moses' half-brother.
Right.
And, he was amazing in The King and I. Won the Oscar for that. But he's the Pharaoh, and he was scary. And it looked like he was having a tough time keeping the sandals on his feet. He was uncomfortable in his shoes, so he'd walk like this. You have sandals and you have to grip them with your toes. That's how he was walking. And he had this big chest. This is one of my first imitations. Yul Brynner in the Ten Commandments. Moses
Moses and the Hebrew waves think they're gonna witness my father. Who is this Moses? Who is this Moses? I will find him, I will kill him. As it is written, so it shall be done.
You've done so many, that one kills me. But one that warms my heart and is entertaining at the same time, I think because of all the mutual love and respect between you guys, Muhammad Ali. Remember you guys, Billy would do that? I remember my dad loved Muhammad Ali. We get such a kick out of him because he was this bigger than life character. He had all these little, I remember as a kid, he had those little phrases and there were songs written about
And
him.
the poem, the poetry,
Yes.
predicting the rounds, but I loved him.
But the physical difference between you guys that you would...
Is what? You think there was a difference? Insult me, why don't you?
I'm sorry. No, it's not an insult. I'm just saying it's a compliment because you would capture the essence of who he was and his bigger than life persona. And
Well, I loved him. There was nobody I respected more in my life than him. What he meant to all of us. And but you all know the story. But you know, if you think of the times, if some of you lived it when I was there, it was terrifying. It was something was going on in this country that was absolutely insane. With the way the country was divided. You think we're a little weird now. Back then, it was worse. The country was in the middle of really a revolution of epic proportions. It was like the country was in the middle of natural childbirth. And it was like screaming and yelling, and what came out of it was music and poetry and art and freedom eventually, and a revolution that way, and Woodstock and all that. But Ali was the voice for all of us who didn't believe in that particular war. He stood up, as you know, and gave up his title. And they then stripped him of his passport, his title. He couldn't travel, he couldn't box, he couldn't make any money. But what he could do was become a voice for us. And he gave us the courage to stand up for ourselves. And he would come to college campuses, just show up. And suddenly there's 1,000 people around him. And he was, back then, he was preaching about what's right and about what's wrong and about finding yourself and believing in yourself, and it meant so much to me. So and I didn't start out trying to do him.
So you didn't meet him and then start impersonating his...
No. I actually tried to imitate somebody else, and I discovered that I could do him. Brando in The Godfather. I'm trying to do him, and I'm watching the movie, and I'm getting my mouth like that. Michael, I didn't want this for you. I wanted you to be son of Napoleon, Governor Napoleon. Instead, I became the greatest fighter of all time. That's really how.
That's your ear, though,
I went there and I made a left turn.
Because you heard it.
I heard it.
That's how your
And then
mind...
I thought I could actually look like him in my eyes a little bit.
Yeah.
So I started doing.
You used to do Cosell interviewing.
It was an interview between Ali and Cosell. It was like 3 minutes long, and it was sort of ended my 20-minute thing. Yeah.
Oh my! And your Cosell was killer. I mean, that was.
Well, he was easier for me to get because we had that same whiny, kind of nasally kind of thing, and man, he was so great.
Bigger than life again, another character that, and he was so polarizing too, and people loved him or they hated him.
Well, one year in TV Guide poll, you know, your favorite person, your most hated person, he was both. That's the guy you like. He was so, he was, you know.
He was fearless. Yeah.
Fearless, and he said what he felt, and, you know, if there's a big game now, there's a lot of good announcers, but you miss his bombastic presence.
Yeah.
And I wish he was around today. I mean, I'd love this guy to be on CNN covering what's going on. I wish he was doing political commentary.
He's doing political commentary.
He'd be great at the White House after one of those press conferences. Hello once again, everyone. Howard Cosell. I've just witnessed a Sean Spicer press conference. This man is half human being, half Jack Russell Terrier. What the... We're the White House, and believe me, I mean the White House. I've seen more black people at an ice hockey game, for Christ's sake. Let's take a look at this cabinet, up close and personal. First, the Attorney General, Jefferson Beauregard Sessions. This man is named for the President of the Confederacy and a Confederate General. This must make Ben Carson feel right at home. Ben Carson. If you're listening to one of his speeches, make sure you're not driving heavy material. This man is human quailer. Then there's the Secretary of the Energy Department, Rick Perry. Don't blame me. I never trust anybody who wears a bolero jacket on Dancing with the Stars. And how did President Trump, even when I say President Trump, I gag just a little bit. Look on the other side. Look who's he defeats Hillary Clinton, a worthy opponent, but nobody trusts somebody who dresses like Kim Jong-un. And then there was Bernie Sanders, an elderly Jewish man from Brooklyn who lived in Vermont. What the fuck is that? I admire Bernie. I believe in everything he said, except he seemed like an old man at a deli trying to get the attention of a waiter. But we face uncertain times. Uncertain times. This president, we aren't sure what's going to happen. This may be the first time the Secret Service wrestles the president to the ground to protect us from him. Politics are telling us what to do.
Yep.
I did not know what to expect.
I didn't know what to expect, but boy, that was all on the tip of your tongue.
That's so good.
So you're doing Howard Cosell. We were on the path of Howard Cosell and Muhammad Ali.
Right.
That closed out the strong 20 minutes that you had. That was like the.
Right.
So is that how you meet him? Does he see the impersonation and call you and say?
No, this is
because you guys were friends. You and Muhammad Ali were friends.
I never met him until this moment. I have to say, of fate, really, and I totally believe in it. My manager, Jack, gets a call from a great man named Dick Shack, who was a wonderful sports journalist and later become one of my great friends. So, just to set the scene, Ali had defeated George Foreman in the Rumble in the Jungle and retained the heavyweight title. The second man to do it, the first was Floyd Patterson. So now Ali, at the age of 33, is the heavyweight champion again, and he's sitting on top of the sports world. So Sport Magazine was going to have a televised special. They were going to honor Muhammad as the Sport Magazine Man of the Year. And along with him, there were the best baseball player, the best basketball player, the best college athlete, Heisman Trophy winner, all on the dais. And he called my managers asking if Robert Klein could do 5 minutes on the
So they wanted to book up a stand-up comic.
Because Robert Klein was great, he did a lot of sports material, and they said, oh my God, Bob's not in town. But we got this new kid, and he does this Ali Cosell thing. It sounds like it'll be perfect for him. Dick said, great, and listen, don't worry, if it doesn't work, I'll protect him, I won't put it in the show, it'll be
he can edit it out.
He can edit it out. So now, I'm gonna not only be on television for the first time, but it's gonna be with my ultimate hero. So Janice and I drive into the Plaza Hotel in New York City, and we walk in holding hands. We look like two people who just come to the country.
So many famous people
So
there and
many,
everything.
everybody's in it. So I meet Mr. Shapp, and Dick couldn't have been nicer. He was just the greatest guy. And he says, listen, it's a pleasure to meet you. Hi, Jan. Billy, got a problem. How do I introduce you? Nobody knows who you are. I said, that's a problem. Just say I'm one of Ali's closest and dearest friends. And that way, I'll go right into the Cosell. I won't have to explain it, and that'll be great. Just Ali's closest and dearest friend. Great. the show's going to start in about 20 minutes. Janice, you'll sit with me at the dais, and Billy, you're right next to Ali, right over there. 2 seats away. So we say goodbye, and it was like, as we drifted away, it was like it was East Germany. And I see you in Purim. I hope we would be together again. I walk into the ballroom, there's all these people, and I'm looking, and there he is. It was like he was the sun and everybody else was revolving around him. I've never seen anything like it to this day. And I felt like I was walking in slow motion, like I was in a Scorsese shot. Just looking at him, this guy who meant everything to me, and he knows everybody in the room except me. As they come to the dais, 2 seats away from him, and he just stared at me going, what is Joel Grey doing? So the evening goes on, and all of these great athletes were there. Pete Rose was there. Franco Harris was there. I was sitting next to a man named Gino Marchetti from the Baltimore Colts, who weighed 275 pounds. He ate my dinner. I didn't say a word. Archie Griffin had won the Heisman at Ohio State. And then Neil Simon spoke, the greatest American playwright. Simon speaks, and then George Plimpton, who was a great writer, he speaks. And it's going unbelievably well as Ali keeps staring at me. As Dick Schaap comes to the microphone and says, and now Ali's closest and dearest friend. I get up, 2 people applaud, Janice and my manager. As I walked right behind Muhammad, and I got to the podium and the microphone, went right into the Cosell. Hello everyone, Howard Cosell here in the ring in Zaire, Africa. Zaire, of course, is spelled Z-A-I-R-E. Some would pronounce it Zaire. They're wrong. Muhammad, come over. An incredible upset. Muhammad, come over here. Howard Cosell, you are the ugliest white man I have ever seen. Ali falls apart. Because no one had imitated him, especially a little 5'7" white Jewish kid. Doing the greatest of all time. Yeah, Howard, I'm gonna tell you, everybody, nobody believed that I could beat him. They thought George Foreman was gonna beat me. George Foreman was gonna tear me apart, George was gonna kill me. But George Foreman big punches, and then I go, and it's hope-a-dope, and then Howard, I'm announcing tonight that I'm changing my name again because I got new religious beliefs. From now on, I want to be known as Izzy Yiskowitz. Izzy Yiskowitz. It has sort of a Jewish ring to it. That's right, Howard. I'm now an Orthodox Jew. My name is Izzy Chaim Yiskowitz because Chaim the greatest of all time. Out this Jewish boxing, you don't hit the man, you just make him feel guilty. I got George in the corner, I whispered in his ear, when's the last time you spoke to your mother? Boom, I give him a sentence, and down he goes, Aleph, Beis, Gimel, Dal, Chestes, you're out. A new punch, the Shabbat Shalom. Well, it worked like this, people went nuts. Dick tells him my name, and I turn, and Ali is there. It's like walking into a wall. And he picks me up. So now I look like the award he was about to get. I'd like to thank Sport Magazine for my own personal Jew. And he held me, and he hugged me, and he whispered in my ear, you are now my little brother. And that's what he called me for 42 years. Yeah, and then it just kept growing.
Because he used to come to your house and you guys would hang out.
It was the weirdest thing. It was it's your friend. When did you ever think in your life you're going to say, honey, Muhammad's coming over?
Cut the crust off the sandwiches.
What are we doing Saturday? The Ali's want to go to a movie. Do you want to go? We'll get a sitter. We can get a sitter. No, it was crazy. And then we shared so many funny, he was so funny.
And he was like this big, playful Saint Bernard puppy. And then, and he would do magic tricks. But then, because of his religion, he can't deceive anybody. He would explain how he did it, which was always hilarious to me.
I'm sure.
The corner's not really, it doesn't really disappear. I put it in my pocket when you want. We was on a slightly sad note. We're attending, Howard Cosell passed away, and we're at Howard's funeral.
You and Ali.
I'm sitting next to Ali, and Cosell meant everything to him. He was the one sports journalist who stayed with him during the bad years and fought for him, and really was right there, right through the Supreme Court decision that was 8-0 vote that he was a conscientious objector. So it was Howard who was his advocate, and they meant something to each other. So it's a huge crowd. A couple of thousand people, and the closed casket is up there, and people are talking, you know, the people eulogists, and Ali gives me a little elbow, and I said, what? He says, do you think he's wearing his hairpiece?
Laughing in church.
So I said, I don't think so. Why? Well, how will God recognize it? Once he opens his mouth, he'll know what it is. That was awesome. He was just, he was true to who he was, and his place in the world, and never took it for granted. One day he calls me and says, hey little brother, tomorrow morning I'm gonna do some road work. I want to run. You want to run with me? I said, champ, I'd love to run with you. Where do you run? I run, and he mentions this golf club, his private golf club. He runs on early in the morning on the fairways. And I said, champ, I'm not allowed there. Why not? It's restricted. What's that? They don't allow Jews there. They don't allow Jewish people in the club. You can't even visit. You can't go there. I'm a black Muslim. They let me run. I promise you, I will never run there again. And he never did. And we started doing things for each other, charity work, and he helped me start a theater company at the Hebrew University in Jerusalem that's with Arabs and Palestinian and Israeli actors, writers, producers. He helped me raise the money for that. And really a metaphor which should be what the Middle East peace is like. These artists are all working together.
Right.
And he helped me start that fund for them.
And that's what I talk about I don't really call it impersonation or impression. It's more the essence of who he is.
Yeah.
Because I was talking about how physically different you are, but you would just capture that, and then over time it evolved because you wrote something that he didn't know about, capturing really his struggle.
Well, as he got older, it happens. Father Time is undefeated, and he loses to young Leon Spinks, who had only had 8 fights, and he just couldn't do it anymore, and he took him lightly, he didn't train well, and he gets beaten up pretty badly and loses. So now he's 36 years old, and he summons what's left of his body and defeats Spinks in a rematch and wins the title for the 3rd time. No one had done that before. So he throws a retirement party, small party, 25,000 people. And it's at the Forum where the Lakers play. And I, by far, was the least known person, and he asked me to do something, and I thought that he was going to ask me to do this because he loved this.
Him, Cosell, that bit. Yeah.
So I wrote something special for the event as I watched him change, and he became this sort of Shakespearean character to me. And it was called 15 Rounds. And I played him from the age of 18 until he's 36, and does this comeback. All of his ups and downs, punctuated by ring bells.
And Cosell, U.S. Cosell narrated.
Right, Cosell.
Yeah.
And it went very well, and he was 30 feet from me. And it was this big television special, and the director made me a special copy of the show. But he put Ali in an isolated camera.
Oh, so you could see him
so I could see him watch me be him. And I held on to it until the day that he died. And no one saw it. And when I knew the family called me and said he's not going to make it on Friday, I put this thing in shape and I posted it.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's beautiful.
And I brought it with me. I wanted to show you a little piece of it. This is the last bit of it. He's 36. He's lost, but he's plotting his comeback as only he could. So here's a little bit of 15 rounds with Ali watching me beat him.
It's over! Young Leon Spinks, with only 8 professional fights, has decision to seemingly aging Muhammad Ali here in Las Vegas. An incredible upset. So much like the young Cassius Clay 14 years ago in that ring in Miami Beach. The champ is dead. Long live the champ.
You surprised me, that Spinks. I guess at the age of 36, you know, I couldn't train like I want to train, you know, couldn't do the things in the ring I want to do, gave that ugly sucker the first 7 rounds and try to come back after him, you know, just gave away too much, you know. Every time I reached back for that something to knock him out, just wasn't there, you know. Hell, he was so ugly, I figured ain't no way he could beat me. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they took away his driver's license. He walked into a telephone pole. Everybody's saying to me now, they're saying, hey, champ, you must feel bad you ain't champ long. You lost to some kid who looked like a train ran through his face. I say, hey, man, I ain't got nothing to be sorry about. You see, everybody in life suffers a loss, you see. It's the one who can overcome the loss and make a success of yourself that's really doing something. As I look back over my career, I was heavyweight champion 14 years ago, man. Ain't that something? 14 years ago. I had a great life. Allah's been good to me. 59 professional fights, made a lot of money, got beautiful kids, great family, got everything to look forward to. But something's eating at me. I don't want to go out losing to no Leon Spinks with 8 professional fights. I don't want to be remembered as being out of shape in that ring in Las Vegas. I want him one more time. And I'm going to do it. I'm 36 years of age, my body's tired, I don't like training very much. But starting tomorrow, I'm getting in shape for that rematch with Leon. Getting up early, I'm gonna run with the moon. I'm gonna start hitting that table and do my push-ups, do my sit-ups, gonna take the punches, do whatever I have to do. And I'm gonna run. And I wanna be the first man ever to win the title for the 3rd time. Nobody's ever done anything like that. But then again, nobody's ever done anything quite like me. And I'm predicting that I'm gonna do it. Because I wanna be the heavyweight champ for the 3rd time. Because I can do it, and you can do it too. No matter what you was in life, no matter what color, no matter what religion, it's never too late to start all over again. Never forget that, and you'll never forget me. I am the greatest of all time!
Go!
I mean, when I look at him, I think of him at the Olympics with that torch when Parkinson's, you know, had taken over his body, and just his strength that he could come out there and have such courage. And seeing that and seeing you with him, what was it like that night after that performance to feel that energy, that crowd? And you said to me, you were, even though there was all those people there, you were doing that show for him.
I always saw him. I always saw him. And it was one of those moments, you know, when we act, you look for those moments when you can crawl into somebody's skin, and it's just, it becomes your skin. Your heart's still beating, but you're them. You know, and that's what that moment was like in front of all those people with him. And we thought it was the end of his career, and we weren't going to see his legs again. We won't, we never will. And I remember I got to the dressing room and I was just sort of like, wow, that was wild. And I just changed really fast. And I was in the hallway outside the dressing room, and I realized I'm standing next to another heavyweight champion, Richard Pryor. And oh my God! And I'm standing there with Richard, and that's the first time I met him. And I'm with him, and then I see Ali, and Ali's coming right towards us, and he pushes Pryor out of the way, and picks me up again. But this time he just hugged me, and then he put me down, he grabbed my hand, he said, "Little brother, you made my life better than it was." And it was amazing. So then, all the years go by, and we still, you know, see each other and do things for each other, and then he passes on.
Yeah, you get that call.
And I get a phone call that I was one of the eulogists. And
you said he had been planning that.
He had planned it for 5 years. They planned this massive memorial in Louisville, and that I was going to be one of the speakers. And so, all right, how do I write this? And I did some of the things I talked about, because it was real, it was honest, and told how I felt about him. And it was, this is the full cycle. This is the full cycle. This is what I'm talking about with fate. I'm sitting there with Janice again. Now we're still holding hands. And I'm sitting next to President Clinton at this memorial that was seen worldwide. And none of this happens if Robert Klein is in town. It's meant to be.
Yeah, somebody's moving the chess.
It was meant to be. It was really meant to be.
And could you do that nowadays? You've done a lot of African American characters, but you couldn't get away with that now, could you?
Vocally, you can, I think, but it depends on how you do it.
Right.
Everyone's so quick to put labels and go, no, and definitely not with the makeups that I do.
No, but I asked Dave to just that little clip that I love of you. You're doing Billy as Grace Jones, Prince, Tina Turner, which is hilarious.
Tina Turner.
And then it's just a short clip, but he has it back there. If we could just show it to them.
Okay.
Okay.
Personally, I think it's sad.
Yeah, you should be able to do that.
I think it's sad because it's.
You have so much love and respect for the people.
That's why it bothers me that you can't. And everyone's they'll throw out a word at you that you should. But they're portraits. They're done with love. They're characters.
Right.
You know, so.
And Sammy Davis Jr., you opened for him.
Yeah, but see,
guys, Billy opened for Sammy Davis Jr.
But the reason I think I had such an affinity for doing African American characters was the house I grew up in.
Your childhood, absolutely, yeah.
My dad produced jazz concerts, apart from owning this tiny little record store. So my dad was a leader in civil rights. He was the first concert producer to integrate bands, to play white players with black players. No one was doing that at the time, in the 40s and 50s. And my family, my uncle, my grandfather produced Strange Fruit, which was Billie Holiday's song about lynching. Yeah. And that's, so all these great jazz artists were in the house all the time when I was a kid. And my grandmother actually once said to Louis Armstrong at a Seder, "Louis, have you tried just coughing it up?" One of them, a great player drummer named Zooty Singleton at a Seder, said to me, "Hey, these bitter herbs, do I smoke them? Do I eat them? What do I do?" My bar mitzvah became a jam session. Yeah, that's me. That's me turning around, looking at a great player named Henry Red Allen, if any great jazz fans. Red was a great trumpet player, maybe second best to Louis Armstrong at the time, and he was a guest. He was the family friend who got up and became a jam session.
Do you know what story I remember? You told me once that you went to see Shane, the movie movie Shane.
Yeah.
And could you tell them?
Well, it's in 7, for those of you who saw it, I'm happy to repeat it. I saw 700 Sundays. My dad was producing a concert with Billie Holiday, and her show was at like 7, and we got there to watch her rehearse. And once we were done, there was a movie theater right next door, and she said, "Let's go to the movies." So we went next door to the movies. I'm 5, and I'm sitting on her lap watching Shane, the greatest Westerner of all time. And at the end of it, remember, Shane is riding away, he's been wounded, he saved the town, and the kid runs after him. That's the kid who I wanted to be, was the 8-year-old Brandon DeWilliams.
You wanted that part, yeah.
Oh man, and then Shane's riding off, and the kid runs after him, and he yells, "Shane, come back, Shane! Shane, come back!" And she whispered in my ear, "He ain't never coming back." So that's what, just...
That's where it comes from in you. It's your heart. It's from all your work is from your heart.
I was raised right.
That's why I love it, because it's from your heart. Yeah. And talk about being raised right. For us as showbiz folks, Sammy Davis Jr. was one of the greatest entertainers of all time. I mean, sing, dance, act. He was funny, and he was brave too.
Sammy was brave because in the 40s, when he started with his uncle and his dad, it was called the Will Maston Trio. Sammy was this incredible talent and just naturally learned how to do all of these things. But here was an African-American entertainer in mostly white nightclubs where they couldn't even, stay at the night, but couldn't use the bathrooms or anything. And he'd be on stage killing the audience, and he'd be doing imitations of great white actors. Right. He did Bogart, he did Cagney, he did all of these people.
And against all odds, he had a glass eye. I mean, he had his own personal tragedy when he was young, and then he couldn't even stay in the same hotel with Frank Sinatra until Frank did something about it.
Yeah.
But you opening for him.
I was his opening act.
Did you think you had already done Soap at that point?
And I'd done an HBO special.
But did you think, oh my God, this is real showbiz?
Yeah. You get a job opening for great Sammy Davis Jr. in Harris and Lake Tahoe, and we did 28 shows in 30 nights. Really great job. And well, maybe not great enough to have my picture on that thing. But it was a great, and I couldn't believe. Now I had at least 30 minutes, and it's opening night. And see these monitors, these are sound monitors, so I can hear what I'm saying. It was right at center stage, but for me, it was a clock. And it started at 30 minutes and counted down, and when it was 0, no matter mid-sentence, you had to finish. Because as the owner of the nightclub said to me, "This show's not about you, Bill. It's about gambling. I want it to be a certain time so that people go back into the casino. So you do 30 minutes, okay? It's not about you." And then I'll give you your kids back, all right? And also, for Sammy, it worked on videotape. It was a teleprompter, so it had his lyrics, and it had the rundown of the show, so he could remember everything. And it worked on videotape, so that was always there. So I'd come out opening night, it was cooking, just like you guys. And I did my 30 minutes, and it went great. Get ready for Sammy Davis Jr. This has been unbelievable, folks. We're going to have a great month here. Go into the wings and just like Blood, Sweat, and Tears. And I'm saying to myself, holy shit, I am opening for Sammy Davis Jr. I mean, I never lose that. To this day, I never lose my wonder, because when I start losing that, then I'm done. Sammy walks out, like Sammy walks out with that walk. He had the hand mic. How about a hand for young Sir William? He calls me Sir William. Already it's cool. Let me tell you a story about this young man. We were supposed to do this last year, but I got pneumonia, and I'm in the hospital in Reno, Nevada, in ICU, and it was looking touchy and going. And this young cat, comes to ICU with a sign. He holds it up against the glass, says, "Get well, Sam. Can't do it without you." That's who this young man is. Right? I'm in the wings. It's an amazing story, except it never happened. Same show, second night. Right? Same show. I mean, the second show, same night. I finish, get ready for Sammy Davis Jr. He follows me right out. Is that the white Richard Pryor or am I nuts? Did you love him? Did you love him? Applause, applause, applause. All right, let me tell you a story about him. Last year, we were in St. Louis. No, we weren't. And we were doing a telethon. Never did one before. It was a terrible snowstorm. I don't know, I was in LA. And nobody showed up. And young Sir William and I did 8 hours, just the two of us. And we raised $50,000. It never happened. So I went out to the sound man in the back and I said, Gary, do me a favor. Would you record all of Sammy's intros to me for the rest of the month? He goes, yeah, no problem. It was really nice what you did for Sammy in the hospital. Well, what are you gonna do? You know? So imagine, I have 28 amazing adventures I had with Sammy Davis Jr. That never fucking happened! And I cherish them. Bonnie, I cherish them. Because it was show business. It was, right. He made this whole thing. He made me look great. He had a great time with me.
Did you guys hang out in between shows?
Oh yeah, it was the coolest.
So he didn't go hide away and...
No, he got down in his dressing room very early. The show started, I went on at 8. And he'd get down there like around 5 o'clock. 3 hours before showtime to relax. So when I heard he was down there, I started coming down. Sure. And we started talking, and we got to be, you know, very good chums that way. And then I took the little initiative of, you know, playing tricks on him, practical jokes. Because Sammy had this remote camera in his dressing room. He had a TV screen in his dressing room, so he had the camera in the ceiling of the nightclub, and and nobody knew, and he would look at the crowd and see, and he'd call me in my dressing room and go, they're really old. You're not gonna like this, wheelchairs. So I had to get him back a little bit. Behind the stage of the nightclub, there was a scrim, right, like that, a curtain back there. And I would stand right behind there, and there was this big table that had a lot of food on it. He always made a big buffet for the band.
Take care of the guys. Yeah.
And he took care of the guys. And I used to wait there, and right at the edge of the backstage, there was a long staircase that went down to where the dressing rooms were. Okay? So you know those big black olives with the little pimentos in the middle of them? So I would take one from the buffet, keep it in my hand. He'd come over, what'd you think? Great show. And I hit him on the back and drop the olive base. Oh God, Sammy, your eye! Oh my God! I got it! Mr. Davis Jr. and Pat I'm so bad with you, oh God. Can you say, hey, E-U-C? And he would laugh like crazy. Then he got into it, and we would do it when the band didn't know that it was a joke.
Together as a team.
Great show, Sam. Boom. Oh my God, his eye! And they go, what? And they see this thing go down the stairs. I got it, Sammy! Oh, I got it! Whoa, how's it? So now it's closing night. And I'm sad, because it was like the greatest month of my life, and it was stories about Sinatra, Shirley MacLaine, everybody. He worked with everybody. And so now I'm saying, good evening, everybody. I hadn't said anything funny, and I hear Sammy in the wings laughing, and he never watched my whole show until the very end. He'd watch the last minute, and then walk out on stage. He listened to it in his dressing room, but he never watched the whole thing. And I'm looking at him, I haven't said anything funny yet, and he's hysterical laughing. And he points at the prompter, and I look down, and there's a porno movie on it. And I mean a porno that he kept on for the full 30 minutes. That's when I learned that I could multitask. No, he was unbelievable to watch. He was unbelievable to watch. And so now, I get a call to host Saturday Night Live.
Right.
And it's 1984 St. Patrick's Day show. And
that's where I remember seeing you do Sammy.
Well, this would be the first night that I did.
Oh, that's the first time.
Sammy had no idea that I could do him. I would just do him on the phone. I would call people and say, hey, Sammy Davis Jr. is on the line.
You were just doing his voice.
Yeah, and I would just call and it just gets me into a comfort zone with him. I take him out of the predictable and just
put him in.
have him do something. So I get to the office and meet all the writers on Monday, and Dick Ebersol was the producer. Lon Michaels wasn't there anymore, and I said, well, listen, I don't know what the sketch is, but I can do Sammy Davis Jr. And they went, really? And they laughed, and they wrote a sketch that I would be Sammy in full makeup and come into the Oval Office where Ronald Reagan was president.
Who was playing him?
Joe Piscopo. And we did this, it was a funny scene in the Oval Office, and Sammy had, talks to Reagan. So I never had the makeup on before. You get fitted for all the appliances, so they make them up, for your head and all that stuff. So,
but you're not going to have that on until the real show.
Yeah. No, wow. So now we're doing the live show, and I'm in a sketch where I'm playing Hervé Villachez.
Oh, Fantasy Island.
Fantasy Island, the little man from Fantasy. They're playing. With the bangs, and I'm sitting in a chair. I have my legs tucked back underneath me and two little cowboy boots on my feet. So my legs were right here. And the show was called Bad Career Moves. Because at the time, Hervé had left Fantasy Island because he wanted to be taken seriously as an actor. And he asked for too much money. He asked for $75,000, and ABC said no. Right? So the show was called Bad Career Moves. That he had left. So Jim Belushi was the host, and he goes, well, how much money did you want? I wanted $75,000 an episode. And he goes, that's $25,000 a foot. That was the big joke. So the sketch ends, and now we got 2 minutes to turn me into Sammy Davis Jr. So we run over, they take the boots off my knees, and you can't be bashful. They strip you down in front of everybody.
Yeah, it's like a pit crew.
And now they're putting tight pants on me like Sammy wears. I'm in the cowboy boots, and then they're putting a different shirt on me, and they're coloring my hands and putting rings all over my fingers, and medallions are going on my neck, and they're putting a tie on the jacket, they're gluing a chin, a mustache, a nose, a forehead, different eyebrows, a hairpiece, and they're coloring my face, and the stage manager's going, 15 seconds, I gotta go, let's go, we're live. And I said, wait a second, what do I look like? And someone held up a mirror, and I just got hysterical laughing. I go, I'm fucking Sammy Davis. It was hilarious. So the sketch went really good. No one had done Sammy before, especially in the full outfit and makeup. So the next day, my mom calls, and she said, oh, it was so much fun seeing you do the show. Isn't that Eddie Murphy's something? I said, Mom, it was me. Eddie left the show 2 weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
So now I get home to LA on Sunday, and I was doing Sammy every place because I just loved him. So he was on my outgoing message on my phone machine.
Oh, was you imitating him?
It was me imitating him. And you'd hear some jazz music, and the voice would be, hey, it's Sammy, I'm not here now. I'm grooving with the cats. Leave your name and number, I'll get back to you. Peace and love, and I mean that. So the red light's blinking, I press it, here's what I hear. What the fuck is that? Sammy called, Sammy answered, Sammy wasn't happy. But it ended up fine, and then we did a bunch of more dates together.
Yeah, then you became a regular on Saturday Night Live. I mean, one of the stars of it, because they put together
I hosted it twice that season.
Okay.
I did the finale show. And Dick Ebersol said to me, listen, we love having you here. If I can get Christopher Guest and Martin Short to come, would you come as a regular? And I thought about it for at least 2 seconds. Because I was bumped from the very, very first Saturday Night Live in 1975. I was due to be on the very, very first show as a comic. There were 3 what they called Comedy Discoveries. Andy Kaufman did Mighty Mouse on the first
Oh,
show.
I remember that.
And a comedian from Toronto named Valerie Bromfield. And I was the third, and my piece ran too long, and I ended up obviously not on that very first show. And it always hurt me.
Because you didn't have that chance.
I didn't have the chance, and that's where I felt I always should be. And then, again, fate. And I did soap for 4 years and did other stuff, and then so on.
But I couldn't believe that when you told me that it was only one season. 18 episodes. When you think about all the characters that came out, you guys did the synchronized swimmers. You did Fernando
I hate when it happens, guys.
Yeah, you look marvelous. That's
Fernando
hilarious.
Yeah. And it was an amazing time. That's actually Jesse Jackson. That's not me. Yeah, Jesse Jackson. And Fernando. And of course, the brilliant Marty Shrug. Fernando just broke loose. It was one of those things. A friend of mine lived next door to him in Del Mar, California.
Next to
near
the
San
real?
Diego, near the real Fernando and his wife Esther Williams.
Esther Williams, the great swimming
movie star.
Yeah.
And so I always loved when he'd be on a Tonight Show with Johnny. He was just so damn suave and funny.
Hilarious.
And so I thought, well, this is a guy to do.
Yeah.
So I started doing it and calling up people on the phone. And started going on, and then I started this thing, you look Because it was always, if you ever look at some of the old shows, they were all improvised.
Your segment as him.
The hideaways were always improvised.
Yeah. That's unbelievable.
Well, they would roll out the hideaway set right in front of everybody when they do Weekend Update.
Right, but I mean, nobody really improvised on Saturday Night Live. So to think that you guys were doing that, what about famous people coming on? Were they afraid to do without a script? We saw Siskel and Ebert, which was hilarious.
Yeah. They were. I had whoever was hosting the show
would be the guest on the hideaway.
To be in the hideaway.
Okay.
And I had, Ringo Starr was panicked in the hideaway because they didn't know what I was going to ask.
Right, that's what I mean.
Ringo, that Diablo thing really took off. It took off. Do you get residuals from the records? Why was nobody wearing shoes on the Avenue? Why would you cross the street not wearing shoes? How were you raised? So one night, and what I love because it's live. I can't tell you how much fun this is so far for us. And I'm telling you, you're amazing. And so Barry Manilow was supposed to be in the hideaway. Oh, please.
I did too. One of my first concerts.
Yeah. So
besides
Barry,
the Beach Boys. Yeah.
So listen. So Barry was playing Radio City Music Hall, which is right next door.
Right.
To 30 Rock.
And he's going to be the guest.
He's going to be the guest in the hideaway.
Okay.
So he calls at 11 o'clock and says he can't do it. He's too nervous. So the Fernando piece, the hideaway, was going to be the second sketch.
But it's a live show. So
it's live, and I go, but what are we going to do? And we don't want to pull the sketch, and no one else was in town to do it. It's 11 o'clock. So there was a crane operator. He drove this big boom around the studio.
A crew guy?
Yeah, a crew guy. His name was Bobby Ferraccio. And Bobby was a large person. He weighed about 400 pounds.
Okay.
And the sweetest guy, he was a hilarious Italian guy. And he drove the big boom mic. It was like, so he drove it around. So I went up to him and I said, hey, Bob, I got a huge favor. Manilow just canceled. That motherfucker. I got an idea. We can't lose the sketch. We have nobody else to do it. Would you be Barry Manilow and come into the hideaway with me? And whatever I was going to ask Barry, I'm going to ask you. And you just talk to me. And no matter what, it's just going to be hilarious. Please. Okay. So
he says yes.
He said yes.
And Dick Ebersol says fine.
Yeah, it was live. He trusted me. So I do the intro. Saludos, my friends. You know who you are. Let me tell you something, darlings. Tonight, most of you, if you look at your TV guide, look to see that Barry Manilow was supposed to be the guest at the hideaway. He called a few minutes ago, not himself, his person called and said he was not coming. These big Hollywood stars who don't show up has got to stop. But I promised my friends and my audience a Barry Manilow interview, and that's what we're going to do. A few minutes ago, I went to one of our crewmen and I said, please, would you play the part of Barry Manilow? And he said, sure. So please welcome Barry Manilow. And Ferraccio walks in. I had to move the table away to get him into the hideaway. And he did it live, and I asked him the same question.
Did he choke? Was he
No,
terrible?
he was such a ham. It was the greatest. He starts singing, and I write the songs. Oh, it was great, but that's what I loved about doing it live. And then, my 1 year there was as much fun as I've ever had. And,
And it led to all your movies, too. I mean, don't you think? I mean,
oh, sure.
Yeah, that was The Bridge.
Yeah. Just right after that, we ended in May. In September, I was in my first really big starring role in a movie called Running Scared
in Chicago.
Yeah. In Chicago, yeah. Awesome guy. And also an amazing talent, and also a great tap dancer, too. And that was sort of like, the prototype for this buddy cop movies. That was like one of the first ones. And that was great. And that's the first time I ever had to, fire a weapon.
Yeah, but, well, you were cops.
Yeah, so you had to shoot. And I never had done that before.
Right.
But
when you were a kid, you played cops and robbers.
Yeah,
that's kind of fun.
I used a finger. I got really good with this thing. Hey, you. Bam, 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 bam. Bam, you can't. Bam, 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 bam.
Yeah.
So now we're training, because we gotta do a lot of shooting.
What a fantasy to be all grown up now, and now you're playing the cops and robbers.
It's really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Peter Hyams is the director, so we worked for a couple of weeks and we got in great physical shape because we wanted to do our own stunts. So the first day of shooting was this big shootout scene in a drug dealer's apartment. Greg and I had to knock the door down, come into the room, a big hole was blown out, and somebody blew a shotgun out, the wall explodes. We're supposed to dive over a guy, and they come right into a close-up and shoot this guy 3 times who's right over there. So we practiced it to precision, all week. But now it's my first day, it's gonna go on film, because this is when movies were actually made with film, not anymore. And I'm really nervous, but it's a big movie scene.
Right.
Peter Hyams goes, action! I come into the room where we knock the door down. Boom! The wall explodes. I dive over this guy, get into the close-up, shoot the guy 3 times. Cut! Everybody applauds. Billy, come here. Come here. I want to show you take a look at this. She shows me the replay. So there I come through the door, I'm looking good. The wall explodes. Wow! I dive over the guy right into the close-up, and you see me go, bam, bam, bam! So next time, use the gun.
Those first days on movie sets.
Yeah. That was that.
The tough guy then plays your Princess Bride with your good buddy, Rob Reiner. Miracle Max.
Max was a great guy to play. And if you want a great gift for your kids, or if you've never read the novel, The Princess Bride, but William Goldman, get it. It's a beautiful book.
I think about what was the description of the character that Rob, your very, very dear friend, sees you as?
A 200-year-old Jewish wizard who lived in the forest. Typecasting. I got my makeup artist who did all the people that you've seen me be, Peter Montagna, and I brought 2 photographs. So Peter, we're going to combine these 2 people. Casey Stengel, who used to manage the New York Yankees, and my grandmother, Sophie Crystal. Put them together, and it became that guy. That's Carol Kane, who played Val.
Oh, she's awesome.
Yeah. And that was amazing fun. Rob just let me improvise a lot of stuff.
So Rob's your best friend, and he sees you as Miracle Max. Does he say, "Oh, this is a leading man. Let's put him in Harry Met Salad"?
Again, it was one of those things. It was one of those things where I was, I was not the first choice for this movie. But neither was Humphrey Bogart for Casablanca. George Raft was the.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, George
said,
Raft.
It's not for me.
But when Harry Met Salad was written by Nora Ephron,
right.
Did she write it with you in mind?
No. The original script was called Boy Meets Girl. And I knew about the script, but I hadn't read it. Nobody had read it. It was a top secret thing. And Rob was my closest friend, and he was seeing all of these other great.
Oh, so you know he's doing this movie?
I know it's happening.
Okay.
But I know that he's seen Albert Brooks, Richard Dreyfuss, Michael Keaton, Tom Hanks, and they all would have been fantastic in this part. And I'm feeling he doesn't trust me with this. He doesn't think I'm good enough. And I was really, it's a real test of a friendship because you can't say, give me a shot.
Right.
You know, if he wants me, he wants me. But it was hard.
Right.
Until one day the phone rings, and it's Rob, and he goes, hey buddy, this guy is you. He's you. I always knew it was you. But I had to see all of these other people, but I don't think this is you. And they're all good, but this guy's you. It just feels like you. I want to try. I went, please do it. And I went, no, I don't want to do it. And so I joined first. I became cast first, and then we started looking for who was a good
You
partner.
and Meg, so great.
And this is like one of those 40 movies, 40s movie, and then she walked in.
Yeah.
And it was Meg, and we just sort of fell into each other.
But when I'm knowing you so well and then seeing the movie, I mean, in retrospect, I think it was you. It's so much of you in that character. Did you collaborated, obviously, with Nora and Rob?
Oh yeah. The thing was, it was so much of Rob in it that I had to say to him, Rob, you have to, the character, you got to move aside and let me in. Because I feel like I'm playing you, and I have to play Harry, and so and it's I get it.
Right.
And then it became the greatest collaboration. So we're about 2 weeks away from shooting, and Nora in a meeting, it was just the four of us, and she goes, Rob, I feel like we're missing something. There's got to be we're missing one big scene. I have this idea where Sally tells Harry about how women fake orgasms. And Rob goes, what are you talking about, fake orgasms? What are you talking about? She goes, Rob, women fake orgasms. He goes, really? Well, they never faked it with me. Really? I mean, well, Rob, how do you know if they fake it? Because I would know. Really? You think you could tell? Then Meg stands up and goes, you know what? This is perfect. I should have an orgasm. I went, and then I went, yeah, of course. Oh, what a great idea. We should do it in a public place, like a big restaurant and crowded around, and then you do it in front of everybody, and then we cut to an older woman, and she'll look at you and go, I'll have what she's having. And that's how the scene was written. And Nora got all down and goes in the movie. So now Rob is casting, we're getting ready to shoot. He casts his mother for that one line. That's Rob's mom, Estelle Reiner, who plays the I'll have what she's having woman. So now we're shooting in LA first, and then we go to the University of Chicago, do all of that stuff. And we come to New York and we're shooting around town, it's going great. Then it comes a day of the orgasm scene.
Fake orgasms.
To you. So it's at a place called Katz's Deli on the Lower East Side, and I'll make you feel at home. Which is why I thought all my relatives were always so tired. My older Jewish people are always so tired. It's from gas. They say everything 3 times. You know what I think? You know what I think? Hey, you know what I think? You say everything 3 times, you're exhausted. So Meg comes to my trailer at 7:30 in the morning, and she said, I can't do this scene. I don't want to do it. Meg, you're going to be amazing. It's going to be great. I'm right there with you. You're going to be great. I don't want to do it. And then she's actually doesn't like what she's wearing. She's wearing a sweater of mine that was actually mine. And she's, can I wear that? Yeah, sure. So now we walk to the set holding hands together, and I'm just trying to calm her down. And now there are about 100 extras in the deli. They have no idea what the scene is. So I thought I'll put cameras on them right away, and we'll get their real natural reaction to this. And he's got 2 cameras, Meg's close-up and the 2 shot this way, and one on Meg. So we're ready to go. It's lit, we're ready to go. So she sits down, I can tell she's nervous, and we do the scene, and people listening, and now she has the orgasm, and it's not good. It's one of those like you're married 10 years. It's okay, it's serviceable, it's like serviceable. Serviceable. Sorry, but it was like the next one tepid, not even close. That was not, and so Rob's getting a little concerned and a little impatient that she's shutting down. So he's trying to help her, and he goes up to her and goes, Maggie, step out, let me show you what I want. Here's what I want. And he sits down opposite me. So now he's across from me. It looks like I'm on a date with Grizzly Adams. And then Rob proceeds to have an orgasm that Mighty Joe Young, pounding the table, yes, yes, yes. Spice balls are flying off pickles. Cold pastramis are coming out of steamers. What's going on? He's screaming, yes, 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 yes. Pounding the table, he's sweating. He finishes, they all applaud. He takes me aside, he goes, buddy, oh God, I shouldn't have done that. I said, no, Meg's all right, you didn't embarrass it. No, not that. I just came in front of my mother. Jewish boys. Yeah, but that was hilarious. And then the movie works, and it works. People love the movie. I'm so thrilled with that. But then, when it comes out, you know, it gets really good reviews, and audiences like it. And all these years later, people are now showing it to their kids, and their kids are showing it to their kids, and it's a great thing. So we get a command performance request to fly to London to have a royal premiere in London. So we all fly over. Now we're at the Leicester Square Theatre. We're all in tuxedos, which is how I love to go to the movies. We're placed by Buckingham Palace personnel in a certain place, and you're told to say a certain thing, and don't say this and don't say that, and how the women have to curtsy, and as the car pulls up, and Princess Di gets out of the car. And she's unbelievable looking. That dress was red with gold thread through it, and it was stunning. Her eyes were like emeralds that matched her rings. It was stunning, and she was very tall. And she came towards us, and we shook a hand, and we said hello, and so on and so forth. And she said, let's go to the film. So we walk into the theater, and the royal box is in the front row of the balcony. And there are 20 trumpeters lining the stage, which is how I remember going to the movies. And they played with it. Then David Clayton Thomas walked out. And she waves to everybody, and she tells them to graciously sit down. And I'm on her right, and Meg is on her left. And Meg is too cute for words. And we're sitting on either side, and we're waiting. We're making kind of a little small talk. Meg keeps leaning forward to catch my eye, and she's going. So now the lights go down. The curtain opens, and Princess Di whispers to me, I just took my shoes off. So Schmucko says, I just took my pants off. She said, you're so naughty. You have no idea. Now the movie's playing really well. It's playing really well. So now we're coming to the orgasm scene. And everyone had heard about it, but they obviously hadn't seen it. Everybody sitting in the orchestra is now turning to see how Princess Di is going to react to the orgasm scene. And now the scene starts to happen, and Meg starts having the fake orgasm, and Princess Di starts laughing like this. And I'm thinking if it was a date, I'd never see her again. She's beautiful and she's a princess, but she don't laugh. She drives me nuts. A lifetime of that. Yeah, it was awful. It was just, it was awesome. It was awesome.
I'll say.
Yeah,
What a
crazy. like that.
And you go from this beautiful, like describing her, and I know I was fortunate enough to meet her, and she was absolutely stunning. What a charismatic, unbelievable soul. But you went from, I shouldn't say beauty to the beast, because I say beast as a compliment because he was bigger than life, Jack Palance.
Oh my God.
And, yeah.
The greatest. Yeah, I was
City
so
Slickers. The greatest, and City Slickers was based on a story that you had written.
I wrote the original story.
Right.
And then,
such a great movie, isn't it? So fun.
And I was talking before about Shane. Jack was in Shane. He was the bad guy, Wilson in Shane, dressed all in black. And that's who Shane kills at the end to
Oh my God, that's your first movie.
That's the first movie, and Jack was in it. And when we were writing the movie, with a great writing team named Lowell Gans and Bob Pimentel, when we were writing together, I was very much Jack's voice. I'd never met him. And when we finished it, and we knew we were going to make the movie, he went, who do we send? I said, it's got to be. We got to take a shot.
Yeah.
So we sent it to his agent. We get a call that Jack really likes it, wants to meet you.
Okay.
So Ron Underwood was a director who was a very diminutive, shy guy. So we go to the Bel Air Hotel bar, and it's a restaurant too, and we're sitting there waiting for Jack to get there. And about 10 minutes into it, he comes in, and he's amazing. I mean, he sort of takes your breath away.
Yeah, he's tall.
He's tall, he's charismatic.
He's a movie star, like from our
big-time
childhood.
movie star, and he's got that big head. That movie star.
Famous people have big heads.
Big movie stars.
That's a fact.
Clark Gable, gigantic
Huge head.
Huge head. Humphrey Bogart, big head.
Meryl Streep has a big head.
All heads.
She can't
It's a big head theory. Spencer Tracy, take a look, gigantic head.
Can't get through the manhole.
Fred Astaire, diamond-shaped head.
Yeah, he had the alien head, yeah. I mean, it's a compliment.
And he's mesmerizing because he's a little otherworldly. You know, he's a strange combination of a very interesting man and a dragon. He's like a... I want you to know how much I love the movie. And you could swear that fire was going to come out of his mouth. I love this. I love the script. I have a scheduling problem. I don't think that I can do the movie. I have this other movie that's in the way. But if I can get the movie out of the way, then I'd like to do the movie. At the bar, after lighting 3 busboys on fire. No, he was unbelievable. So now we go, what can we do?
You did talk about how you described the character in the script.
Well, we said he's tough. You know, there's a line in the script. Look at his face; he's like a salad bag with eyes. And Jack was every bit of that and more. Plus, he's a great fucking actor.
Right.
So now we don't know what are we going to do. We don't have Jack. That's who we just. So now the studio calls us and said, "Listen, there may be a little silver lining here. Charles Bronson wants to read the script. He heard about it, and if you can't have Jack, Charles Bronson would be fantastic." And it's, don't you think? And I went, "Yeah, of course. All right, yeah."
Formidable. Death Wish 1 and 2. Or...
Death Wish 25, 30.
Oh, did he do it?
He did Death Wish 10 times 2. And as he got older, he got slower, so the guns got bigger. Hey, you, get back here! Yeah, zoom is here.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. So now
So now we're waiting the next day. We send him a script, and now we're waiting. At noon, he's going to call me exactly at noon in my office.
Charles Bronson.
Charles Bronson. So
coming in.
we're all sitting around a speakerphone. I got Ron Underwood, the writers, and a guy from the studio, and we're leaning into the speaker, waiting for him to call. And it's like Radio Free Europe, and it's 1944. They're in Normandy. We're going to be free. And waiting. And they go, Charles Bronson on your private line. They all go like this. Hi, Mr. Bronson. It's Billy Crystal. Here's what I hear. Fuck you. What's it? You heard me. Fuck you. So I'm thinking he's going to say, fuck you. This is hilarious. You know?
Right, great role or whatever.
No. Are you upset? You're fucking right I'm upset. How much nerve do you have to send me this fucking piece of shit script? Whoa, really? No, everyone loves this script. Really? I don't, because I'm dead on page 68.
Oh, the character.
I said, well, Curly has to die, Mr. Bronson, because he teaches me the secret of life and he helps me become a man, and then me and my two friends from New York have to bring the herd in. It's a metaphor. Fuck you, metaphor, Mr. Shakespeare. Fuck you. I'm still dead on page 68. Don't you get it? Charles Bronson doesn't die. Charles Bronson never fucking died.
Imagine his disappointment when he actually did die.
He's laid out in the boxes, they're closing it. What are you doing? Charles Bronson never dies! Charles Bronson never fucking dies! 10 minutes later, Jack Palance on your private. I can do the picture. He cleared out the other thing.
Wow.
And now we can do the movie.
Are you guys so thrilled?
Oh my God, so we spent really 2 weeks together alone doing all the Curly mixed stuff. And it was a dream. And it was hard for him. He was in his 70s, and being in a horse for 12 hours is tough. He was amazing to act with, he never complained, and we'd help each other through the scenes, and I learned so much from him. So now we finish the movie, and we do these test screenings, and it's going great, and we get invited to take the movie to the Cannes Film Festival. I went, holy shit. So now we're in France, and they're adoring Jack, because he made a lot of movies overseas. I once asked him, Jack, how many movies have you made? He goes, counting the shit I made in Europe? 200, 300 movies. 200 movies! And it was all the rage.
And he's on the red carpet, he's 75.
And he's like almost 75, and we're having this amazing experience screening the movie for all these European people who didn't know much about cowboys, or Jews. And so we come back to the hotel, which is a place called the Hotel du Cap, and it's everybody goes there, and at night they turn the lobby into a nightclub, and everybody hangs out, and it's amazing fun. So Jack and I come in from this dinner that honored him, and the paparazzi's all over us as we enter the nightclub. Jack, please, Jack, right here. Jack, please, Jack, right here. Billy. Jack, pick up Billy. There you go. And the bulbs are killing me, and the flash, all I'm seeing is blue dots as I'm smiling. He's got his arm around me, and as the blue dots settle, who do I see sitting on a couch? Charles Bronson. So I just looked at him and I went, but I wanted to say, fuck who? And he laughed. So now, the movie comes out, and it's a big hit, but more important to me, that's great that it's a hit, it's a good movie. It's really
you're so proud of it.
And it's right after Harry and Sally, so Jack and I are both nominated for Golden Globe Awards.
You're nominated for Best Actor.
Best Actor, and he's nominated for Best Supporting Actor. And his
category.
thank you.
And you guys are together at the Golden Globe, same table and everything?
We're sitting right next to each other, black tie. This is the beginning
awesome.
of the season. It's like, oh man, we got our fingers crossed. Hit movie, nominations, what's next for this thing? Jack's category comes up, he wins. He goes up, receives his Golden Globe Award, speaks for about 20 seconds, and says, thank you very much, and comes back down and sits next to me. So I'm one of the producers of the movie as well, and I go, Jack, you really should go to the press room. That's where you're supposed to go. And he looks at me and goes, fuck the press! I mean, this guy could be president. I'm not going to the press room. I want to be here when you win. That's where I want to be. Right here when you win. 5 minutes later, the winner, Morgan Freeman, driving Miss Daisy. Jack stands up and goes, where are you going? The press room. You lost. gets nominated for an Oscar.
And you're hosting.
I'm hosting that night. And he's these things, these fake things. Whoopi Goldberg is one of my best friends, is introducing the best supporting actor, and Jack wins. And he bounds up on stage, and I wanted to run over and jump on his back and hug him. I was so happy, you know? And he gets to the podium, and he's got the Oscar, and he looks at it, and the first thing he says is, Billy Crystal, I crap bigger than him. It's a lovely sentiment. It's a lovely sentiment. You know, because it's a line from the script. It was a line from the script, but people didn't know that. And they said, what's he dissing Billy? We like Billy. What's he doing? And then he said, you know, it's great at this age that people believe in you because people don't think that you can do something when you're this age. And then he hits the ground and he does this.
Yeah, push-ups.
It's awesome. And he gets up, he actually mutters something like, this is a lot more fun if there's a hook underneath. We go to commercial. The show goes to a commercial, and I come out after the commercial. And I'm going, thank you, Jack. You just gave me the greatest setup in the history of the Oscars at that point to run with jokes. And I came out of the commercial, and people were still laughing. And I said, Jack Palance just bungee jumped off the Hollywood sign. 10 minutes later, another one. Jack Palance just won the New York State primary. And later in the show, there was a song with all these little kids from the movie Hook. And 40 kids are on stage. That high. And I came out at the end and I said, Jack Palance is the father of all of you. And you ran it because that's what you want to happen. You want something to happen.
That's the same year that you had one of the awesome ad-libs of all time. Because it's terrifying when something goes wrong and you're in charge of keeping the show on track because you were introducing the legendary Hal Roach.
Yeah.
You know?
It's one of those things. And it just, it was one of those nights.
I remember being at home watching that and saying, oh, what's going to happen? And then
well, I had to introduce a man named Hal Roach, who was one of the fathers of early comedy on film. He had the Hal Roach Studios. He created Laurel and Hardy, put them together as a team. Our Gang comedies, The Little Rascals. He was a giant and actually introduced what they called two-reelers, which were short little movies that played in movie theaters. So he was really the father of, one of the fathers of early days of comedy. And he was in the second row. He was 100 years old that day. And I was supposed to introduce him, and all he was supposed to do was stand up and wave, and the show would move on. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have with us one of the legends of this town and of our industry. Please say hello to 100-year-old Mr. Hal Roach. And he gets a big hand, he stands up, he waves, and then he starts talking. Without a microphone. I'm this close and it sounds like this to me. Thank you very much. And then it keeps going. I'm standing there, the camera's on me, and Francis Ford Coppola's sitting right there going. So now lines start falling in my brain. Oh, no, you can't say that. Don't you dare say that. He's 100 years old. Don't. And then the line hit and stopped like a slot machine. I looked at the camera and said, it's only fitting he got to start in silent film.
I remember that.
And then you hope something like that happens. And you know, the Oscars are Sunday, and I've been talking with Jimmy Kimmel, who I think is going to do a great job. And I'm wishing him something like that happens. Because it's great. No,
and you have to have the goods, though.
And he is.
And yeah, Jimmy's great. And when you said that line, though, I remember standing up at home Like I saw an athlete hit a home run.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that was so awesome. Now you hosted it 9 times?
Yeah, 9.
And also, I think when you're hosting it, it's the first time I saw somebody give Jack Nicholson a hard time. And you guys were friends then, or no?
Never met him before.
You did, when you were doing that on stage?
It was my first, you know, it's so weird. You know, talk about time flying by. My first Oscars was 27 years ago. Wow. It's crazy. It's crazy. 1990. Yeah. And the big story that year was the Batman movie. And Jack had made this unusual business deal for the picture, like don't pay me, give me a piece thing. And he made $65 million for this one movie. So I had hosted the Grammy Awards 3 years in a row, and tried to do different things on the Grammys. And now, you know, Harry and Sally been out, and said that was this one. So now it was like I was in the movie business, and so I thought, all right, how do we do this? What if we do Jack is so rich? Let's go after the big cat. Yeah. Let's go after the ultimate cat, you know, Jack. So I'm doing a monologue, it's going good. And I said, now also, ladies and gentlemen, the big story this year is Jack Nicholson made $65 million on the Batman movie. Unbelievable. Jack is so rich, Morgan Freeman drove him here. Got a huge laugh, and I did a couple more, and then it was off and running. So now, the show's going great. I'm in my dressing room, I have this like 18-minute break where they do all the stuff you don't like, sound effects editing, all that stuff. And I understand. And so, but again, it's that same blood, sweat, and tears Sammy Davis thing. I'm doing this, and I'm going through my notebook, oh, you got this thing, you only got 4 more intros. You're doing great, and there's a knock at the door. Who is it? Here's what I hear. It's Jack and Warren. Jack and Warren who? I open the door, and there's Jack Nicholson and Warren Beatty. Not a bad pair of bookends. I said, hey guys, Willie, he calls me Willie. So cool. Willie, I want to thank you for talking about my money. Now listen, kid, we're so thrilled you're doing the show. Please do it the rest of your life. Warren and I and everybody are just so knocked out with what you're doing. It's the right place for you to be. Now listen, after the program, we're having a little party at my hacienda. He's got a hacienda. So come on by, we'll have some laughs, and we'll catch you another time. But keep doing it, kid. Really proud of you. See you later. Oh my God. What? Yeah. You know? So now, I hosted 4 straight years. Jack is pretty much nominated every one of those years. If not, he's sitting there anyway.
He's
right in the front.
Right there, and he's so in awe of you. You're doing song and dance and opening.
Oh man, and he's wearing his dark glasses because his own aura is so bright. And he thinks he's like part of the show now. So I'm doing a thing, and I'm talking about, I was wearing these really cool tails. They had made me this really cool, like, modern version of you know, opera tails. And it looked cool. It looked like Armani met Jiminy Cricket. That's what it looked. In the middle of a thing, Jack whistles at me like I'm a cab. Yes, Jack. Willie, nice suit. Thank you, Jack. There's 2 billion people watching. But we just play with them all the time.
But you guys are friends. I mean, you've gone golfing with him. Like, what's he like on the golf course? Please.
Oh, he's hilarious. First of all,
what do you mean hilarious? Like he's funny?
Oh, he's funny like crazy.
Making jokes?
Oh yeah, constantly. It's so smart. Jack, how you feeling? How am I feeling? I'm playing old man golf and I'm growing tits. That's it.
That's Jack.
He's the kind of golfer who takes nine shots, finally goes in the hole, and he'll go, that's a par. You tell him. He'll drive and go, Willie, where is it? Can't see. I said, Jack, you're in the sand. Won't be when I get there. He's awesome. But the thing that we do share together is sports. We love to. Yeah. We talk Yankees all the time. We talk stuff. But he's a Laker guy. Of course. And I become the Clipper guy. We're playing the Spurs tonight. You've done pretty well for yourself. You got the best players best coach in a great town. He's doing pretty good. So we go, he said, now listen, the Clips are playing the Lakers, come, sit with me, and you sit in my seats and we'll watch the game. I said, all right, great. So, you know, fortunes have turned, the Lakers have not been good,
right,
and the Clippers have been much better. So we sit next to Jack, and we're beating them bad. We were up like 20 in the first quarter, we're just killing them. So there's a timeout, Jack's not happy. And we're talking, making small talk, and then I hear 19,000 people laughing, and they start chanting, kiss him, kiss him. So I look up, Jesus Christ. We're in the kiss cam with a heart around the tree. And a Barry White song is playing. And I said, Jack, look, and he goes, You hear the crowd? I think we have to kiss. And he goes, okay, Willie, I'm coming in. With no tongue.
Well, to me, you're one of the greatest Oscar hosts of all time.
Woo!
You're a part of the industry. You've played so many roles in every aspect of filmmaking, and you're such a fan. And you always stay humble, and I think it comes through. That all shows up in your work, Billy. I mean, it's just...
I don't know what to say, thanks.
Well, you're great.
What we try to do, you know, when I look at these stats and I see it, only Bob Hope posted it more than me, is crazy.
I know.
You know, when you think of yourself starting out in, you know, Long Island watching a show on all black and white TV, but it was so mesmerizing, I knew I could see color. You know, I could see what they looked like.
Oh, and tell them how you go to bed before the show is over.
Well, because the show was always so fucking long.
Remember, we had to go to sleep.
I had to go to sleep. I had, you know, elementary school. My mom would write up all the winners on a piece of paper. It would be in my cereal bowl in the morning when I got up to go to school.
Yeah, she knew he loved it.
You know, so we try to do different things.
And you did.
As the MC.
When you did the film clips, where often imitated, never duplicated, because you were the first one to do that, where you put yourself in the nominated film.
Yeah.
You remember? And then you would be in the classic movie.
I hosted it the first 4 years, and then I took a couple of years off because it was just getting too much. It was all I did.
Right.
You know, it's a lot of work.
It is, yes.
So when we were coming back, I said, listen, we gotta knock them on their ass. We gotta do something different. What can we do? And then I said, you know what, is there a way that we could film me and put me into the nominated films? And we would take them totally by surprise.
And done so flawlessly.
And so we hired this company to direct it, you know, put it together. And we wrote these little pieces for the thing. And the director, a guy named Troy Miller, was so exacting, he would get the camera reports from the movies that were nominated and find out what lenses they use and what kind of film they used. So we would use the same. So when intercut, it would look like
even the classic films that you put.
And then we started doing it in classic films too. So I brought with me a little montage of some of the moments of the Oscars. We'll be back in a few minutes. Here, enjoy these clips from the Oscar movies. There's about 5 minutes.
So I walk out and I say to the audience, how can this be an award show when The Sopranos isn't nominated for anything?
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy fine.
this. See, this isn't over. I didn't want to do the show this year, but the Academy talked me into it.
Oh, come on. It's a lot of pressure. Why don't you do it?
I don't know.
I can't think of anything new. Oh. I'm thinking. Give me one good reason why I should do the show again. This is a good reason.
So, you don't sing?
Unless you count whining.
You don't dance?
Not really.
Hope you don't think I'm being nosy, but what do you do?
Well, there's this. Too Jewish? In Robin Williams' last movie, he played a robot who tries to become more human. It's called the Al Gore story.
Robinson, you're trying to seduce me.
First of all, it's Mr.
I don't remember doing this last year. So they're just staring at each other. Nobody says a word. Nobody's doing anything. And I got a show to do, you know? Do you mind not smoking, please? I mean, it's insane. That's one thing that makes me crazy. When you're with somebody and you're talking and you're not saying a word. You got to do all the work. When I'm with somebody who doesn't talk back to me, I want to get away from them as fast as I can. You know what I mean? Hey, where you going? Hey! Go a little slow. Would you, Mr. Hackman? You're not even nominated. Look out, it's Stephen King! The show's on a Sunday. It'll end on Monday, but it's on a Sunday. Things just don't feel right. I just don't know what to do.
You can act like a man.
Oh, okay. And cut! Help me! You want to help me? All right, you can help me. I will do the show, but I got some demands. I want a shirt, because these chains are freezing. Fine. I want Paulie shorter when the Thalberger wore. I want you to explain to me the plot of Mission Impossible. I want you to kick the wall 3 times. Kick it. Jerry, that's what I think about you, man.
Promise me you'll come back for me.
You. This is all about you, Listen. These are my jokes, all right? Read them. What's the next best thing to being here? Okay? I'm sorry it worked out this way, but let's face it, honey. You picked a pretty bad night to die. Great. Girlfriend dies in a cave, late, and I'm not even allowed to plug my movie Father's Day, which opens May 9th. Stop whining. You're hosting the Oscars.
Hey, Billy, how you doing? Good. What you gotta do? Introduce Uma to Oprah.
Oh, no.
Oprah to Uma, and then Uma to Oprah, and then introduce Oprah to Uma, and then do it again. Uma, Oprah, keep doing it. No.
No wonder we'll be quick. Thank you. I'll have what she's having. What an amazing night.
Great audience, great place. We had this in a great town. Thank you so much. Before we leave, guys, just want to tell you a little bit about why Billy and I are together. Billy and I got to be friends through our mutual and awesome friend, Robin Williams. And Billy and I really wouldn't run into each other a lot unless one of us was with Robin. That's how we would always see each other. And long before I started in Jumanji with Robin Williams, I was working in Chicago at the Second City Theater, but during the day, my job was, I was an oncology nurse for 7 years. And during that time, just some story that I like to tell about Robin, because we all know how brilliantly talented he was, but his heart was made of gold. He, no matter how many times I asked him, he would call a patient on my behalf when somebody was at their most vulnerable time, facing their own mortality, and Robin would take a moment and I'd give the patient the phone, and I would see all their pain and fear and anxiety wash away for just that one moment, and it was so valuable. And I also learned how important laughter is, and being together and enjoying what we do can be very healing. And Robin really respected that, and it meant so much to him that all of you loved him so much. And Billy and I would both speak at Robin's memorial service. We would see each other then. And then about 6 months ago, they dedicated a building to Robin in New York.
It's a Screen Actors Guild screening room, rehearsal room, writing room. It's a theater.
Perfect.
It's a whole film complex called the Robin Williams Film Center. And we were so moved to be there, and we spoke on a panel with a couple other amazing talents, Barry Levinson, who directed him in Good Morning Vietnam, and we just hit it off like we always did, but now we spent more time together, and now I know I was going to put this kind of evening together. Who do you do this with? Who can do it great? I said, well, you got to do this with me.
Robin brought us together.
And he brought us together that way, so that's how this all worked out.
One thing we share is we both said to each other, there's such a void for us, because Robin was that guy, the most loyal friend you could ever have in your life. And I think I miss the most those late night phone calls where we would confide in each other about everything. And he would, one time, I remember there's so many stories, but he always called with different things. I told you, we used to dub movies over the phone. He would say, put on the same channel, and we'd turn the sound down when we do all the voices in the characters. It was like, you know, it was like medicinal, it was so healing. And he would do Ethel Merman, songs she should have never sang. You know, and it would be like, Silent Night, you know. Hush, do you want to know a secret? Oh, wow. And, oh, Leroy Brown. But it was always these, you know, quiet songs.
Well, first of all, you know, he was the most amazing friend that I could ever have.
Well, you guys were brothers, really.
Even more so in many ways, because there are things I don't say to my brothers that I would say with him and share with him. And I love my brothers, but there was something else. And as we got older, we were able to talk about more things that were, you know, about getting older, and it was beautiful. And then he left us all too soon. So, but I'm left with all of these great smiles. When I think of them, I just smile because of the stories are so unusual. Because it was just, when I announced I was going to go to Broadway in 2004 with this play, 700 Sundays that I'd written, and I told him about it. And the next day, there were literally 40-something phone calls from this man named Gary, who was a backstage dresser, who wanted to dress me and take care of me during the show. Mr. Crystal, my name is Gary. You don't know me, but I got your number from Dorothy Provine. Dorothy Provine? I just want to do this show with you. This is going to be my last Broadway show because I worked with James Earl Jones and that about killed me. I just want to do one more show and then buy some land. There were like 40 of them. Like 40 of them. And so all of these phone calls, and they'd be riffs. We would riff, and it was our jazz.
Yeah.
It was our jazz. It was a way of, you know, improvising together.
Right.
I never knew who was going to be on the other end of the phone, and it was so cool. So I'll leave you with this story. I mentioned Ronald Reagan earlier. At Ronald Reagan's funeral, I'm watching on television. So it's this massive state funeral, and they're lowering the casket into the ground. to his final resting place, and the phone rings. I go, hello. Here's what I hear. Bill? Hi, it's Ron Reagan. What a coincidence, sir. I'm watching your funeral. Who are they putting into the ground? Oh, that's my stuntman, Al Moran. Let's just say, well, he took one for the team. But Bill, I wanted to call you to tell you that I'm in heaven at a wild party, and I'm having a wonderful time, and everything's great up here. Really? So what's heaven like, sir? Well, it's a lot hotter than I thought it was going to be. Hotter. Yeah, it's sweltering. Well, you know, sir, with all due respect, sir, if you're at a wild party and it's hot, I don't think you're in heaven. I think you may be in the other place. Oh, well, that would explain why I'm in a hot tub with Richard Nixon and my balls. But that was him. Fearless, brilliant, knocking doors down, kicking ass. You know, he was an amazing friend to all of us for all of those years. You know, and I think of him always with a smile.
That's right.
And say, you know, Robin Williams, what a concept. Folks, you have been such a phenomenal audience. I love telling these stories. I love being with you tonight. How about a hand for Bonnie Hunt?
Hey! Hey!